in the last 3 years, you could be saving hundreds of dollars every month. Lower your rate, lower your monthly payment, even kick that pesky PMI to the curb. And get this, you can skip 2 full months of mortgage payments. But that's not all. Fellowship Home Loans just rolled out something incredible. Their very own HELOC and lines of credit. Approval in just 5 minutes. Money in your account in as little as 4 days. It's the easiest system you've ever used. You can do it yourself online. Whether you want to pay off bills, tackle a home project, cover education, or even a wedding, Fellowship Home Loans makes it simple to leverage the money that's already sitting in your house. Just go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending guided by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
50 of the 303 school children abducted from a parochial school in Nigeria have escaped. They're now back with their families. 50 children between the ages of 10 and 18 escaped individually between Friday and Saturday. A total of 253 school kids and 12 teachers are still missing after gunmen attacked the Catholic school on Friday. No group has claimed responsibilities, as Sunday the Pope called for the immediate release of all of those still being held. Chinese companies are rushing to deploy low-flying vehicles and drones for various uses as the country looks for innovative ways to give its economy a boost. Once a sci-fi dream, flying taxis are being tested in southern China, where the automated oval-shaped craft hover like mini helicopters. In Shenzhen, which borders Hong Kong, food delivery drones are already part of daily life. They're also a novelty for tourists. News and analysis, townhall.com. Bird flu and another disease have shrunk the U.S. turkey population to a 40-year low this year. Wholesale turkey prices expected to be up more than 40% as a result, but shoppers preparing for Thanksgiving may not see higher prices because many grocers are offering discounted or even free turkeys to get customers in the door. A one-time big league baseball star is apparently off the hook at this point.
Former New York Mets star Darryl Strawberry says God set him free when he was pardoned by President Trump recently. Strawberry thanked the president during a sermon Sunday in Tulsa. He was pardoned for tax evasion and drug charges. Strawberry says he credits his strong Christian faith for his transformation and sobriety. He became friends with Trump on Celebrity Apprentice in 2010. Jason Walker reporting.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Good morning to the John Fredericks Media Network. This is the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. And I am Michael Patrick Leahy. We're broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. It is Thanksgiving week, and we are delighted you're here to join us. It's time now for the Morning Rundown, brought to you every day at this time by our friends at the Glock Store, glockstore.com, located just a few miles from the airport. Well, here we go. Here's the Morning Rundown for Monday, November 24th, 2025. Number one, over the weekend, late Friday, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congresswoman from Northwestern Georgia, announced she will be resigning from Congress January 6th, I guess it is, right? And she's got crosswise with President Trump, and apparently Marjorie Taylor Greene thinks that she's more important than President Trump. I don't know what she's thinking, but she's resigning, and we wish her well. Prediction: she will either get a gig on CNN, or she'll be the new guest host, or one of the new hosts on The View. And then, although she denies it, she's probably going to run for president in 2028. That's her angle, seems to me. Number two, we have a special election in Tennessee's 7th Congressional District here in Middle Tennessee. It will be held 1 week from today. Early voting continues until Wednesday. If you are a Republican and you don't want an insane person representing you, you need to go in and vote for Matt Van Epps today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, and then on Election Day, 1 week from Tuesday. And we'll get into the insanity We call her the Afton Baniac. She is really kind of a nutcase. And so we'll cover some of the lowlights of her career in our next segment. Number 3, the seditious 6 members of Congress continue. We've got a very funny little take on that where, well, you'll see. Alyssa Slotkin, who's kind of the ringleader of it. All 6 of them should be prosecuted under, I think it's 18 U.S. Code 2387 for basically encouraging insubordination. 10-year penalty for that. And they should be tried. Number 4 in the morning rundown, Secretary of State Marco Rubio says progress is being made in the Russia-Ukraine peace talks. Call me skeptical. I don't think Putin wants to cut a deal. I think he wants to just keep rolling on. Number 5, got huge Somali refugee fraud in Minnesota. Oh, what a shock that is. Number 6, at the bottom of this hour, Tom Pappert will join us with more details on the Afton Bain race. And, of course, Maryland man Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the never-ending legal case of Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Number 7, this is going to be a lot of fun. Mark Pulliam, the author of Misrule of Law, retired attorney, is going to talk to us about all things lawfare, including the latest on, rogue judges are all over the place. And number 8, in hour 3 of this program, we'll be joined by Jack Johnson, the Tennessee State Senate Majority Leader. Lots of developments going on in preparation for the new session of the Tennessee General Assembly, which will start in January. So there you go. There is the morning rundown for Monday, November 24th, 2025. And it just might be included if you're listening to this on Wednesday. It might just be the best of you're listening to. Okay, this is where we talk about our friend Lenny McGill at the Glock Store. They've been a sponsor of my show for years now, even before we called it the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. When we were with iHeart for about 5 years, we called it the Tennessee Star Report with Michael Patrick Leahy. I've been lucky enough to go to every one of the incredible yearly Glock Store open houses. They usually hold them in May or so. This year, however, the Glock Store set their sights on Black Friday. It's an event you're going to want to try and attend from wherever you are. Black Friday. Now, Thanksgiving is Thursday of this week. Black Friday is Friday. The details are just now coming together, but if I had to guess, I'm thinking huge discounts on everything, including Glocks and the latest and greatest in performance parts. And yes, knowing the Glock Store, there will be more than a few great giveaways. Now, of course, all the great Black Friday deals will also be available online, but the real party will be at the Glock Store right here in Nashville, Tennessee. That's the Black Friday celebration from Lenny McGill and the one and only Glock Store, minutes from the Nashville airport, and worth the drive from anywhere, especially this Friday, Black Friday. So there you go. All right, I want to get to the seditious 6, and that includes Mark Kelly, the humorless senator from Arizona, former captain in the Navy. Alyssa Slotkin, the senator from Michigan, kind of the ringleader of this whole thing. She's they tried to pin her down on the Sunday talk shows. And I'm going to start with, first, what she's referencing as an example of this. And it's going to crack you up. Here we go. Clip 1. Alyssa Slotkin.
It is very clear that no one should follow an illegal order, but it's very murky when you look at what is an illegal order. And if you go into morally, ethically, that's a pretty tough thing to look at and say, how do I navigate this?
Look, if you're going back to Nuremberg, right, that, well, they told me to do it, that's why I murdered people, is not an excuse. If you look at popular culture, there's you watch, A Few Good Men, we have plenty of examples since World War II in Vietnam where people were told to follow illegal orders.
Stop. What a slippery, deceptive person she is. The CIA, she's involved in all this color revolution stuff, and she's trying to do that here in the United States, where they foment, a revolution against the sitting government, and that's what she's trying to do here. Now, I looked into A Few Good Men. This was a 1992 movie starring Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Kevin Bacon. And the premise was a bunch of Marines down in Guantanamo received an order from their commanding officer to red code a Marine who wasn't cooperating. And that, code red him. So they went in and they, roughed him up. And in the movie, the guy dies. And in the movie, the guys who did the code red were found guilty and dishonorably discharged. Now, that movie was based on a play. The play was written by Aaron Sorkin. He's a left-winger who, writes all this left-wing TV stuff. He did The West Wing. This was his first big hit. It was allegedly, he says, based upon his sister was a JAG officer who went down to Guantanamo in a situation that this was inspired by, but it's a totally different deal. So there were 10 Marines who did engage in this Code Red operation of one uncooperative Marine. The one who was roughed up survived, wasn't hurt, didn't die, and 7 of these Marines cut a deal. 3 of them went to trial, and they were found guilty of misdemeanor, but they were allowed to, their time was the time served in the brig awaiting trial, and they were allowed to be honorably discharged. Now, what's the premise here? What is the alleged illegal order? Did it come from the president? No. Did it come from the commander of the Marine Corps? No. Did it come from the commander of Guantanamo? No. Did it come from a colonel who was the direct superior to these 10 Marines? It did not. They said at trial, well, it was implied order. What are you talking about? That's your example? They're making stuff up, and she sure is. Hey, when we come back, we'll have a little bit more on that and a little bit more on the crazy Baneiac, Afton Bain, the leftist who's running for Congress here in the Tennessee special election. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-728-7468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
MyPillow and Mike Lindell are excited to announce they're having their biggest 3-in-1 sale ever. Mike loves John's listeners and viewers and says he agrees with President Trump. John has the best audience in America. Check this out. MyPillow bed sheets, any color, any style, any size, even kings. Regular $119.98, only $29.88. My Towels are finally back in stock, but not for long. Get a 6-piece My Towel set, regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And for the first and only time ever, get their limited edition premium My Pillows made with Giza cotton and a designer gusset. Queens $17.98, Kings only $19.98. Also for a limited time, when your order is over $100, you will receive free shipping plus $100 in free digital gifts. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-854-0504 and use promo code Godzilla. Use your promo code Godzilla for the best offers ever. Quantities are extremely limited, so order now. 800-854-0504, promo code Godzilla, or MyPillow.com/Godzilla.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 60. Super hard, obviously. for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S, ethos.com/Mike.
The holiday season is always more jolly with Prize Picks. Every sport, every play, every stat matters just a little more. On Prize Picks, you simply pick 2 to 6 players, choose more or less, and watch your lineups light up like the holidays. Download the Prize Picks app today and use the code ROME and get a $50 bonus credit on Prize Picks to get a $50 bonus credit instantly in lineups when you play $5. Win or lose, you'll get $50 in bonus credit in lineups just for playing. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. You do have to be present in certain states. Visit prizepicks.com for restrictions and details.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of Glockstore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at Glockstore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at Glockstore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
I didn't risk my life for this country just to watch career politicians wreck it.
Matt Van Epps, 9 combat tours, true American hero.
Now, I'm on a new mission to bring down prices, create good-paying jobs, and lower healthcare costs for working families. I'm Matt Van Epps, and I approve this message to fight for America, because that's what I've done my whole life.
Matt Van Epps for Congress.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. You know, I saw a piece in the New York Sun. Do you read the New York Sun? This is the new kind of resurrected conservative news outlet in New York. And the headline said the post-Trump era could be problematic. Now, I mean, Trump hadn't even finished his first year, and they're talking about that. There is, however, something to be concerned about, and that is how absolutely insane the Democrats have become, and how the regime media continues to double down on that insanity. Now, let me give you an example of this. Alyssa Slotkin, we talked about her in the previous previous segment. She's a Democrat senator from Michigan. She's the ringleader of the Seditious Six. Now, remember what they said is, in that, they said, look, military, you don't need to follow an illegal order. They didn't specify what an illegal order is, and they didn't say whether or not Donald Trump has, in fact, they haven't claimed he issued any illegal order. So what are they trying to do? They're trying to undermine the chain of command, and it is indeed a violation of, I think it's 18 U.S. Code 2387, which basically says you cannot encourage insubordination. The penalty for that is 10 years. They need to be prosecuted. Now, here's the thing. If you look at this on one of the Sunday shows, she was pinned down and asked by, one of the leftist commentators, oh, gosh, what illegal order has he issued? Let's play this clip right now.
So let's talk right now. Do you believe President Trump has issued any illegal orders?
To my knowledge, I am not aware of things that are illegal, but certainly there are some legal gymnastics that are going on with these Caribbean strikes and everything related to Venezuela.
Legal gymnastics? I mean, what she's trying to do is she's trying to encourage insubordination. Now, here in Tennessee, the national spotlight has come on this special election, Tennessee 7th District special election between the Democrat nominee, Afton Bain, and the Republican nominee, Matt Van Epps. Matt Van Epps, West Point grad, served for 7 or 8 tours of duty in Iraq and Afghanistan. Has worked for Governor Bill Leahy. Very sane guy, very good guy. Now, Afton Bain has a master's in social work, and she's been a left-wing community organizer for rural areas, and now represents Nashville in the state legislature. She said a lot of things about how much she hates Nashville, how she calls Tennessee a racist state, and how she was calling for defunding the police. She was on MS Never. Well, it used to be MSNBC. Then it became MS Now. And they tried to pin her down on some of confirming some of her previous statements. She wishy-washed and actually wouldn't even confirm what she'd said. Let's play that clip right now, clip 4.
Representative, in 2020, you made some tweets that have since been deleted that were very critical of police. You said in those since deleted tweets that the Metropolitan Nashville Police Department should be dissolved. Another cheered on a teachers union saying that defund the police should be a requirement for schools reopening. And another saying good morning, especially to the 54% of Americans that believe burning down a police station is justified. 2020 was obviously a very fraught year. Do you still stand by those comments? And if not, is there anything you want to clarify?
I'm not going to engage in cable news talking points, but what I will say is that our communities need solutions. We need local people deciding, solving local problems with local solutions, and that's not the overreach of a federal government or state government of which we are dealing with in Nashville and our cities across the state of Tennessee.
So you don't want to clarify whether you still believe that the police should be defunded?
Once again, I don't remember these tweets, but what I'm saying is that
I'm not asking you if you remember. What is your position today?
Hold. Let me just pause. She remembers these tweets. Give me a break. I don't remember these. If she doesn't remember them, why did she delete them? Hello. But notice, this is a very sophisticated and deceptive communications technique that the left deploys. Yeah, they say things to undermine authority and basically to support destruction of our constitutional republic. And then they forget about, don't talk about, change the subject. That's what she's doing right here. Now, this MS Now, MSNBC, MS Never commentator tried to pin her down on this. Let's go with that.
On this issue.
I mean, once again, I'm here to talk about my race, which is in literally 9 days.
I'm here not to answer questions. Now, another tape, audio, video of Afton Bain surfaced, and in which she talked about why she came back to Tennessee. She was overseas at the time that Trump was elected the first time. And her mother does not have a very good idea about the state of Tennessee. She calls it godforsaken. Let's play this clip.
Afton, last week we had this great show. We had Anderson Clayton. She's a North Carolina Democratic Party chair, and she came out of that rural organizing tradition, which obviously is your big focus. And I want to ask you a little bit about her in a little bit. But first, before I get to that, I'm sure people would love to know a little bit about you, who you are, how you, what you do at ruralorganizing.org, and how you got into that line of work.
Yeah, I love it. So I have an unconventional background. I'm a social worker, but on the public policy side. And I was actually working in Europe when Trump was elected. And unlike a lot of my colleagues, decided to move back to East Tennessee, where I grew up.
After Trump was elected?
Yeah, after Trump was elected.
Oh my God!
Yes, right. Not quite the common route. And I remember taking my parents out to eat and telling them I want to get into Tennessee politics, and my mom started sobbing at the table, and she said, "You're never supposed to move back to godforsaken East Tennessee."
Well, her mother doesn't like Tennessee, and of course Afton Bain has had similar comments about that. By the way, The guy they're asking the questions, this was a 2020 clip. The guy asking those questions is, I think, the editor and founder of the far left, communist-friendly Daily Kos, K-O-S, Marcos Malutzis. I forget his exact name. But, it's interesting because I've seen this, the rise of the young left, the young communists. I started writing about it at Breitbart back, I noticed it probably around 2013, 2014. And there was a young leftist out of George Washington University who started a magazine, an online news site called The Jacobin. The Jacobin. You know who the Jacobins were? They were the guys in the French Revolution that took over the country and started the Reign of Terror. Yeah. They invented the guillotine, right? And that's really the problem with these guys. They are just hardcore ideologues, but very committed to it. I noticed it back then, 2013, 2014. It's been growing. And it's been aided and abetted by our propaganda education system, K-12. And you think, oh, people need an education. No, that's not. Wake up and smell the coffee, folks. That's not what's going on right now. What's going on is your wonderful children are being indoctrinated to hate America at public schools all across the country. Oh, but my teacher's nice. No, I'm just telling you, particularly in states that have heavy teachers union involvement, your kids are not being taught as a priority to read and write and do arithmetic. They are taught to become little Bolshevik, political officers. That's what's going on. It's been going on for a long time now, which means it's embedded in a number of those under the age of 30. When we come back, we'll be joined by our lead political reporter, Dow Prize winner for the best local journalism in the country, Tom Pappert. We'll talk about Afton Bain and the special election here in Tennessee 7. Back after this.
Now more than ever, it's imperative to support companies that share our conservative values. That's why I can't be more excited to tell you that I've switched my family to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile is America's only Christian conservative wireless provider. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you shift your support away from the leftist, woke, progressive agendas of Big Mobile. Patriot Mobile's wireless service works perfectly and seamlessly as you go about your lives with exceptional nationwide coverage that uses the same towers the main carriers use. Patriot Mobile donates a portion of every dollar earned to causes you care about, to organizations that fight for religious freedom, First and Second Amendments, sanctity of life, and the needs of veterans and first responders. Patriot Mobile has plans to fit any budget, along with great discounts for our veterans and first responder heroes, as well as multi-line users. Switching is easy. Just go to patriotmobile.com/Godzilla or call their U.S.-based customer service team, 972-PATRIOT. 468. Use offer code Godzilla for free activation.
The math is simple. Every dollar we waste on unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. The Safer Supervision Act cuts bureaucratic waste and frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. Law enforcement officers across the country and Republicans in Congress agree this is a smarter way to improve public safety. Stop the waste, protect our communities, fix federal supervision. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Cold weather is here, and it's only whole room with Eden Pure, a trusted name for years on my show. Now they've done it again with the Eden Pure Gen 40 Plus infrared heater. This powerful compact unit gives you fast, even heat you can feel in seconds. Infrared heat warms you directly, not just the air around you, and it doesn't dry out the air. It's quiet, compact, and safe with multiple built-in safety shutoffs, and it heats up to 1,000 square feet. Perfect for the living room, bedroom, or office. And right now, Eden Pure is thanking our listeners. The Gen 40 Plus normally sells for $224, but Eden Pure is giving our VIP listeners an additional $50 off, bringing it to just $174. That's right, only $174 for state-of-the-art infrared heater. Now, this is a limited time offer with a strict limit of 3, and supplies are moving fast. So go to EdenPureDeals.com, use promo code Godzilla50. EdenPureDeals.com, promo code Godzilla50.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at CreeksidePetHotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
I'm Matt Van Epps, and I approve this message.
Meet woke liberal Afton Bain.
This is great. We've got our girl squad, and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is a win.
Afton Bain, so woke she thinks it's a win to harass police.
This is great. We've got our girl squad, and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is a win.
Woke liberal Afton Bain. When she wins, we lose.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress.
My fellow Americans, I have to tell you about my good friends at D.T. McCall & Sons. They have furniture and appliances and a lot more. They've been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years, and they're not going to rip you off. No hidden charges, no delivery charges, no charges for all of the crazy things. These are sick people at the lumber yards. These are very sick people. They charge you for cords and hoses and haul-off. They charge you for all of these things. They call them hidden charges. It's the type of surprise that you don't want to see. It's like an October surprise, but it's worse. D.T. McCall & Sons, they're not going to do that. They're great people. They're going to give you a great deal. With locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, D.T. McCall & Sons will give you the deal of your life. Check them out today or go to dtmccalls.com.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in downtown Nashville. We are joined on our new newsmaker line right now, our Zoom newsmaker line right now, by the Dow Prize winner for the best local journalism in 2025, our lead political reporter at the Tennessee Star and the Star News Network, Tom Pappert. Good morning, Tom.
Good morning, Michael.
You've got a little poster behind me, you know? Poster showing.
Oh, you do? That's a good addition to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show set, I think.
We'll show it there. Here we go. There we go. There's a little poster that we have.
So, radio listeners, this shows our three wonderful faces, myself, Michael, and Christina Boteri. That was the plaque they put up ahead of our victory. That's actually the Covenant one. We were double nominated. It was such an honor to win.
Yeah. So, okay, more good local journalism. You've really looked into this Afton Bain, Matt Van Epps race in the Tennessee 7th Special Congressional District election, which will be held a week from tomorrow. Early voting continues until Wednesday. So if you're listening to this, as most people in the Tennessee 7th are right now, go and vote for Matt Van Epps, the Republican nominee, a solid pro-Trump endorsed guy. Okay, so there was this buzz for a while about all the grassroots efforts and the door knocking that was going on for Afton Bain, and all the leftist groups were getting behind her. I think Indivisible was knocking on doors. And we know that from the primary results, which she narrowly won, that in Davidson County, that's Nashville, which is 25% of this district, Republicans were outvoted 14,000 to 3,000. So they got a lot of turnout in the primary. And they're counting on a lot of turnout in this election on in the early voting and on Tuesday to kind of either make it close or pull off a surprise upset. Now, this all happened. They were doing well, I thought, Tom, until a couple weird things happened. Well, Afton Bain, anything she says is weird, right? And now there's many of the things that she said, we played them in the prior clip, have come back to haunt her. But I think the wheels started to come off when Kamala Harris, the vice president, came to town, didn't endorse her, and she split the scene 5 minutes before Kamala Harris arrived at the rally. And her former friend, ally, whatever, Justin Jones, was there, standing right next to Kamala Harris, and they were inseparable. Justin Jones and Kamala Harris while she was in town. So that was an indication of some dissent, if you will. Then, Tom, oh my goodness, this onslaught of previous statements by her, they've gone national. What's your take on where this race is right now? And tell us about the story that we just published this morning about the get out the vote efforts of both campaigns.
Well, Michael, it is very interesting. Everything you said is completely accurate. It seemed like she had some momentum behind her. It might be a close election. It still does. I strongly encourage anybody who has yet to vote to get out before Wednesday, or else you've got to wait till December 2nd. I mean, it's not the end of the world to vote on Election Day. But Afton Bain, I think she knew she was going to have these past statements haunt her. I think that she knew she was going to have some rough interviews on cable news. I don't think she expected it would be the outlet formerly known as MSNBC, but the point remains. And so the Democratic National Committee was seemingly briefed on all this, because a week before these negative headlines started coming out, really like the day or two before Kamala Harris came to town, we learned from Axios on Friday that Afton Bain began benefiting from a massive national Democratic Party effort. They have a kind of rapid response team, Michael, with 40,000. They're able to contact 40,000 voters each week. They send in, from my understanding, from the reporting in Axios, they send in volunteers from across the country and mobilize them in critical districts like Tennessee's 7th. So what you're seeing right now is in the media, in social media especially, Afton Bain is seemingly without a hope. She's no longer even attempting to explain away her past comments. She's just saying, don't believe your lying ears.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, there's Democrats in the district knocking on doors of people who may not watch television, who may not be on X.com, and they're filling their heads with in my opinion, lies, like Afton Bain can win this thing. So we might be in for a surprise when it comes to the ground game difference between the Democrats, who, again, they're putting their entire party infrastructure behind this, and the Republicans, who are doing a great job, but I don't think you've got the entire party. We've yet to see the party chairman for the Republicans show up in Tennessee, as an example.
Yeah, it seems like the Democrats do this all the time in special elections, right? Particularly in what are swing districts. This is not a swing district, which is one of the reasons why they're focused on it. I mean, they felt some momentum with the earlier this month when Zohran Mamdani, the communist, was elected mayor of New York, and by the margin of victory that the Democrats had in New Jersey and in Virginia. So there was some wind in their sails, if you will. What's interesting to me, Tom, is Afton Bain. I mean, she's a complete leftist nutcase. I mean, let's be honest. But she does represent, and she does present in a way, in an AOC way, in a way that many of the Democrats do. In other words, they're physically, many of them are attractive. They smile. They are well dressed, and what they say, however, is basically deflection. So, for instance, we played those clips, right? But is it true, Afton Bain, that you said, let's defund the police, and we're cheering down those that are burning down police stations? Well, I'm not going to talk about that, she says with a smile. I'm going to talk about affordability. I'm going to talk about, what the people. This I've noticed is a kind of a long-term approach to communications from the left. In other words, they totally ignore truth and fact, and instead they have a prearranged message. This is kind of like what Barack Obama did, right, back in 2008. And then they deliver that in a way where I think younger voters might say, well, there's a cool person. Your thoughts on this?
Well, I think that's right, but I would add that that interview on MS Now was maybe a little bit different, and I think that something new may be happening. It seemed like the network may be trying to differentiate itself from its previous name, MSNBC, because I don't think Afton Bain expected to get a challenging question. And when the Democrats are given a challenging question, this is usually what happens. And you brought up Mamdani. We saw the same thing in the Oval Office on Friday. Do you think President Trump is a fascist? Well, and Trump just says, you can say it. It's okay. And I think we saw a similar thing happen with Afton Bain. She's on a cable news television program, Michael, and they ask her a question, and she says, well, I'm not going to respond to your cable news talking points as though it's some great victory over the host. Again, as you said, maybe there's some like Zoomers out there going, you go, girl. But I think the majority of people saw that and thought, she's a dodger. She's not going to answer. And she certainly shouldn't be representing Tennessee's 7th Congressional District.
Well, the other thing about this is, now let's talk about the ground game and get out the vote. The people, they have a very sophisticated database, and they work and contact them, and they're knocking on doors, and they're tracking who's voting. The people that they are trying to get out to vote, they probably aren't watching those clips, are they?
That's exactly right. Now, maybe they're watching MS Now. Again, it's like it was MSNBC 2 weeks ago, so maybe it's still got the Democratic loyalty. But in terms of cable news in general, nobody watches it. I mean, their key demographic viewership numbers, the last I looked, are something like 300,000 a night. That's across all 50 states plus the territories of the union. So the chances that Tennessee Democrats are diligently sitting at home every night and watching these no-name hosts on a third-rate cable network is just not what it was 5 years ago. So unless, and this is where the Van Epps campaign and its advocates, some of these other PACs have been doing a great job, unless they buy the airtime and produce the commercial and put it on television, a lot of folks may not see it.
Yeah, and we're seeing an awful lot of that, aren't we? We're seeing basically here locally. I mean, if you watch any of the local, I was doing Sunday morning news, right? And Afton Bain's, her ads were there. The PAC supporting her ads were there. Matt Van Epps ads were there. I don't really know, or I don't think that local television advertising at that level is really going to have a particularly strong return on investment. I think it's going to be the door-to-door activity. Your thoughts on that, Tom Pappert?
Well, you could well be right. And it could be that the television advertising is trying to mute the effect of the door-to-door campaigning, because I hate to say this, and this should be maybe a little bit of a concern for Republicans, but maybe not. Maybe things are going so well. I don't have the inside numbers, but Afton Bain seems to be winning the door-knocking fight. And again, that's not because she's some wonderful candidate. The DNC paratrooped 200 to 500 activists into Metro Nashville so they could campaign on behalf of Afton Bain. They're probably getting hotel rooms and a stipend, Michael. So this is a real concern in my mind that Afton is building the voter network she needs among people who probably don't pay a lot of attention to politics and just think, oh boy, we get the AOC of Tennessee.
Tom, when we get back, he's back. Kilmar Abrego Garcia. More legal twists and turns. Back with Tom Pappert after this.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task was 12 seconds. It was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding fast pace. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cell's Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's healthycell.com, code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Is your pet ready for some pawsome fun? At Creekside Pet Hotel in Kennesaw, every day is a tail-wagging adventure. Whether they're romping with friends in day camp, enjoying a staycation in our cozy boarding, or getting pampered in our luxury spa, we make sure every furry guest gets the royal treatment. Happy pets, wagging tails, and the best care. What more could they ask for? Book your pet's perfect getaway today at creeksidepethotel.com or give us a call at 770-422-4700.
These illegal skill games that keep popping up, fights break out, they're illegal, we got drugs, we got gangs, they're all over the place. How do you get illegal slot machines in convenience stores when Governor Youngkin, you vetoed it, and no referendum, nobody passed it? How are they still here?
At the end of the day, it is local Commonwealth's attorneys that have to bring the cases against the establishments and to get them out. And so, yes, I've vetoed bills. The high court has said that they can't be there. And on top of that, our attorney general has done a full investigation. And we go back to our Commonwealth's attorneys in so many jurisdictions refuse to enforce the law. That's the bottom line. They protect the criminals at the expense of the victims. And that's why, again, elections matter. We have got to elect prosecutors who will put people in jail.
This ad paid for by Churchill Downs.
Ready to turn your idle equipment into cash? Purple Wave Auction is your solution. We specialize in no-reserve online auctions, bringing nationwide buyers to your doorstep. From excavators to dozers, we'll market your assets to a vast audience of eager buyers. No hauling required. We photograph and list your equipment where it sits. Experience our transparent and simple process with expert support. Join successful sellers who trust Purple Wave. Visit purplewave.com today to learn how easy selling can be.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Before we get to the latest Kilmar Abrego Garcia development, we've got this a breaking story from the Daily Wire. They unearthed this clip of Afton Bain in 2020. She was explaining what motivated her. She was not yet in the state house. She explained what her motivations were in terms of running for the State House of Representatives here in Tennessee, which she ultimately won that race. Here we go. Let's play that clip.
So for those of you who don't know, my partner has a trans son, and the month of April and the final week of March was incredibly upsetting for us. In the wake of the Covenant shooting and the disclosure that the Covenant shooter was trans, I was pulled into a chat with other trans organizers and activists across the state that were fearful of their lives. We identified threats from right-wing groups that they would show up at these Trans Day of Visibility events and threatening our trans kids. And so I had a snapped moment where I decided we need more people talking about the protections for trans kids in our trans communities at the legislature every day. The first thing I would do is I want to reiterate my first bill, which is to curb the expanded state surveillance of our trans community. 2, the state is going after, they're criminalizing mutual aid funds. And for those of you who don't work directly with mutual aid funds, this is a primary monetary channel that a lot of trans community members use to pay bills. And so the state intends to fully go after that so that they cut off any resources for trans folks. And third, every legislative session, I promise to carry a trans bill of rights so that we could push back against the far right narrative that is being emanated by Matt Walsh and the Daily Wire, who have set up their home in Nashville. And I promise to do that. I promise to fight for our trans community.
So there you go. That's what she was for. Tom, that's a new clip. Had you seen that one before?
I had not seen that one. You know, good job to the Daily Wire. And that today happens to be Afton Bain's birthday. It is the Bainiac's birthday. She is 36 years old today. I think that is a great present for her.
So the new information was, she said in 2020, her partner has a trans son. I don't know any of those details, and I don't know who her partner is. I don't think she still has that same partner. Asterisk. But how Middle Tennessee is that she's going to focus on trans bills of rights?
Every year for all time. And what an absurd left-wing reaction. I remember some of that back in 2023 after the Covenant School shooting. 6 people lost their lives, 3 students, 3 faculty members. And for some reason, the left came away once it was known that Audrey Hale was a transgender person. The left came away from it saying, we got to protect the transgenders.
Really?
There's going to be a pushback from this. That shows, by the way, in the past couple of years, how exactly wrong her political instincts are. There was no right-wing snapback against transgenderism, except that we realized this was a major nationwide issue and we felt heartbroken for the children that were manipulated by it. So once again, Afton Bain displaying her far-left political instincts that always wind up to be wrong.
Yeah, and the timing on that, just to be clear, that was in early 2023, after the March 2023 shootings, the murder of 6 innocent Nashvillians by the biological female, who self-identified as a male. She was elected in 2024 to the state house. That Afton Bain was, so a fairly recent. Okay, we got give us a Kilmar Abrego Garcia update yet again. His very expensive lawyers. I think they're up to like $11.5 million in legal fees so far. Well, what's
that would
latest?
be a bare minimum in my mind.
Yeah.
Well, Michael, of course, we're waiting for Judge Paula Zinnes. She's going to issue a ruling. She is largely expected, and she said essentially that she is going to refuse to dismiss her earlier injunction. She is not going to allow the Trump administration to deport Kilmar Abrego Garcia. She's going to hold on to him for a little bit longer. Part of the reason why that might not have been the case, it seemed like for a brief moment, was because the government of Liberia said that they want Kilmar Abrego Garcia. They will take him. They'll take him off our hands. Meanwhile, according to the DOJ, the government of Costa Rica, where Abrego Garcia wants to go, got a plea deal that he rejected, saying he could go there. Costa Rica, according to the DOJ, said they do not want Kilmar Abrego Garcia. Well, his high-powered attorneys, Michael, they maybe have some friends in the mainstream media, because suddenly, after it was determined by the DOJ that Costa Rica doesn't want him anymore, well, the Washington Post came up with an article where they had gotten in touch with a high-ranking Costa Rican official. They named this source even in the article, who said, no, our August 25th, 2025 letter where we said we would accept Kilmar Abrego Garcia, that remains the official position of the Costa Rican government. By the way, as an aside, Costa Rica received $221 million during the Biden administration from the State Department and USAID. I'm sure that has nothing to do with their attitude toward the United States government in 2025, though. I think now, of course, the Abrego Garcia team is viewing this as a bone thrown to them from their friends in the media. They filed in both the immigration case and his criminal human smuggling case to notify the courts of this Washington Post article. And in the human smuggling case...
Tom, have his attorneys cited any of our Tennessee Star articles?
Of course not.
Yeah, they get some yokel at the Washington Post trying to give him some. I think those were probably coordinated. Tom Pappert, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Michael. Always a pleasure.
Mark Pulliam, Misrule of Law, joins us after the break.
Is a record player the best way to listen to music? Of course not. So why are you still taking vitamins in pill form that haven't been upgraded since the 1930s? Even if you don't have trouble swallowing, most vitamins in pill form can't be absorbed very well. It's time to upgrade to the pill-free future of vitamins. Advanced nutrition company, Healthy Cell, created a patent-pending ingestible gel that is clinically proven to have 265% the absorption rate of tablets. These physician-formulated supplements come in a small gel pack. You tear off the top and shoot it down. You can also mix it in water. They taste great, they're convenient on the go, and they're more natural too, without chemical binders, fillers, and coatings. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of any product. That's healthycell.com. HEALTHYCELL.com.
The Katz and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby tackle today's biggest issues with a New York state of mind.
We are going to talk about dirty money.
This is a total failure of the media, the journalists, and the Democratic Party.
Treat yourself to a bite of the apple.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
Katz and Cosby, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
And those are the big headlines of the day.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter, Truth Social, or Twitter at JF Radio.
This is WJFN Goochland, Bonaire, Chester, and WJFB Portsmouth, part of the John Fredericks Media Network.
Breaking news this hour from Town Hall. I'm Rich Thomason. Both the U.S. and China say that Presidents Trump and Xi were on the phone today. They talked about trade as well as Taiwan and Ukraine. And top U.S. and Ukrainian officials have reported substantial progress toward ending the war in Ukraine.
At weekend talks in Geneva, officials discussed an American proposal for peace, which some European allies fear is too favorable to Moscow. Secretary of State Marco Rubio described the talks as productive. He shared few details, though he said any final agreement would need Russia's approval. Earlier, President Trump complained on social media that Ukraine's leaders were not grateful for U.S. military assistance. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Israel has struck Lebanon's capital Beirut for the first time since June, saying it killed Hezbollah's chief of staff and warning the Iran-backed terrorist group not to rebuild and rearm. 50 of the 303 school kids abducted from a Catholic school in Nigeria have escaped. They're now back with their families. 50 youngsters between the ages of 10 and 18 escaped individually between Friday and Saturday. A total of 253 school children and 12 teachers are still missing after gunmen attacked the Catholic school last week. So many predictions regarding the outcome of next year's midterm elections. How will the Democrats fare? How will the Republicans do? The way House Majority Whip Tom Emmer figures it, Republicans are in a good position.
We only have 3 of our members in seats that Kamala Harris won. And by comparison, our colleagues on the other side of the aisle have 11 of their members. This is without redistricting. They have 11 of their members in seats that Donald Trump won in the last election.
The Minnesota Republican on the Salem Radio Network. Watching Wall Street, the Dow is up 263 points. The Nasdaq 442 points higher, and the S&P is better by 79. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-513-2326. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-513-2326. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-513-2326. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-513-2326 or biglou.com.
British doctors report progress in the case of a 3-year-old California boy. His treatment with a groundbreaking gene therapy began a year ago, targeting a debilitating disease called Hunter's syndrome.
Before the treatment, the toddler was unable to produce an enzyme crucial for keeping cells healthy due to a faulty gene. In the most severe cases of Hunter syndrome, patients often don't survive beyond the age of 20. But in a world first, cells were removed from Oliver's blood and a working copy of the faulty gene was inserted before the modified cells were given back to him. He's now producing the missing enzyme and has stopped all other treatment.
The BBC's Fergus Walsh. The death toll and widespread flooding caused by heavy rains in Southeast Asia has increased, with another person killed in Vietnam. Reports of 5 deaths in Thailand. News and analysis, townhall.com. At least 5 families say their babies were treated for infant botulism after consuming ByHeart formula months before the current outbreak was detected. More than 30 babies have been treated for the rare, life-threatening disease in the outbreak that started in August. ByHeart recalled all of its products nationwide. Where do all of those Christmas trees come from? Unless you cut your own, it may come from a place like this where that sweet aroma is in the air.
Especially in Pennsylvania farm country, in the form of a giant Christmas tree sale. Thousands of trees and other seasonal items have been sold at the Buffalo Valley Produce Auction. Buyers from all across the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic there to supply their garden stores and other retail outlets. The Real Christmas Tree Board says it's the scent of trees. It's a major draw for farm-grown trees. Jason Walker reporting.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are indeed broadcasting live from our studios in Nashville, Tennessee. Buckle up, because here in studio is our very good friend, all-star panelist, Mark Pulliam, retired attorney, very successful, partner in a major law firm for many, many years, and saw the light and said, I've been working too hard for too long, and I want to be independent, retired. And he's got this great blog, Misrule of Law. Instapundit, the constitutional law professor at the University of Tennessee, Glenn Reynolds, puts it up every week. And this week will be no exception.
I hope you're not jinxing me.
I'm not going to jinx you. Mark Pulliam, thanks. Well, we're going to jump right into it. I am, I'm developing a theory here. And the theory is that we have a whole generation of federal district court judges and blue state judges, blue city state judges who have lost their minds and are distorting traditional Anglo-American concepts of justice to promote the destruction of our constitutional republic through their detailed knowledge of civil procedure and how the courts work. Case in point, this redistricting in Texas. Now, just set the stage for it. What did the Texas state legislature do? And who challenged it in court? And what court ruling was made by a 3-judge panel recently? What did the majority say? Who wrote it? And what did the dissenting opinion say? So start off with what happened here.
First of all, let me begin by congratulating you, Tom Pappert, and Christina for winning this prestigious award for the best local journalism, which the Tennessee Star well deserves.
Well, thank you. And by the way, those of you watching, right here, I'm pointing to it. This is our Dow Prize for Michael Patrick Leahy, Tom Pappert, Christina Botteri for best local journalism in the country.
Yeah.
It was quite an event in D.C. where we got this award.
Well deserved. So there's something called the gerrymander that has been around in the United States for over 200 years. And it arises from the assignment in the Constitution to state legislatures of the responsibility to draw congressional districts. And
the name comes from the former Vice President of the United States, Elbridge Gerry, who was governor of Massachusetts when the first gerrymandered districts were created. One district looked like a salamander. It was so squiggly. And they took the salamander and Gerry, and they put that together, and they called it gerrymandering.
Well, and so it's been widely accepted for over 200 years that whether you like it or not, the drawing of congressional districts is up to the partisan desires of whoever's in charge of the state legislature, and Democrats have always used this to their advantage. That's why in Massachusetts there's not a single Republican congressman, and that's true in some other states, just because they are in charge of drawing the maps, and they make sure that a Republican can't get elected.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Every time that a Republican state legislature redraws the map, there's a court challenge.
Well, exactly. And so
what's the challenge based on?
Soros funded. Well, they come in and say it's racial. So if it's a partisan gerrymander, let's admit that it was rigged to be beneficial to Republicans. If it's done strictly on partisan grounds, it's legitimate. It's 100% will be upheld. If it's being done to discriminate against racial minorities, it can be overturned. And so the midterm elections next year will be one of the most important elections in American history. If President Trump loses control of the House, he's going to be subject to a whole series of circus-like bogus impeachment proceedings.
Performative impeachment will be the name of the day.
And he'll be treated as a lame duck. His agenda will stall, and our recovery from decades of deep state corruption will stall with it. So President Trump suggested to the state of Texas, why don't you guys do what Democrats do? And in the middle of the decade, reapportionment usually takes place at the end of the decade after the census has been conducted, but it's not restricted to that. Mm-hmm. He said, why don't you guys draw a new map in time for the 2026 election? And Governor Greg Abbott in Texas said that's a fine idea, and lateraled it to the legislature, and lo and behold, they came up with new maps that, if they do as they were intended to do, would increase the number of Republicans elected to the Congress from Texas by 5, which would give us a comfortable margin against any other setbacks, so that we would be able to maintain control of Congress. So everybody considered this to be, quite a victory, that it was done promptly, et cetera. Well, immediately, the George Soros-funded legal team runs into court. In fact, they were already in court because they had been challenging, the previous map unsuccessfully, and they filed a lawsuit, filed a new complaint, and because it's a redistricting matter, it was assigned to a 3-judge panel, not just a single district judge, but a 3-judge panel and appeals from that 3-judge panel go directly to the Supreme Court.
So let's talk about, in that 3-judge panel, you have 2 federal district court judges and 1 circuit court judge, above a court of appeals judge,
right?
Which is in the hierarchy. That court of appeals judge is higher than the federal district court judges. What happened next?
Okay, so the 2 district judges, one was a Trump-appointed district judge, Jeff Brown, who resides in Galveston. The other was a Democrat appointee. I have to say, I don't even remember his name. And then the 3rd judge, Jerry Smith, a very well-respected 37-year veteran of the Fifth Circuit, appointed to the bench by Ronald Reagan.
37 years on the Circuit Court of Appeals.
And he's regarded the most rock-ribbed conservative on the Court of Appeal.
Mm-hmm.
His list of his former clerks is like a who's who in the conservative movement. Very, very well-respected, super smart, went to Yale undergrad, Yale Law School. He's exceptionally well-respected. So there was a 9-day trial between, in front of this 3-judge panel, and after the trial was over, they kind of have a consultation, say, like, what do you guys think? Well, Jeff Brown and the other district judge said, well, we are persuaded by the presentation by the Soros-funded lawyers that this reapportionment is racial, and therefore we're going to issue an injunction against it, but we have to write an opinion first before it's official. And so they went back to their respective chambers. Jeff Brown is the judge who was going to write the opinion. He took over a month to write this opinion, and by the time he sent it to Jerry Smith, he said...
Okay, so now the federal district court judge is Jeff Brown,
right?
Who's going to write the majority opinion. Who appointed him?
He's a Trump appointee from Trump 1.0.
Yeah. And you know him personally, right?
I do, and I was shocked and surprised that he kind of went this way, because this was not a smart move, and it's not going to be, I don't think, a winning move.
Yeah. So, okay, so he writes the majority opinion.
Yeah.
Does he follow protocol and share that majority opinion with the district court judge, the federal appeals court judge, Jerry Smith, the 37-year veteran of the court? Do they share that majority opinion with him so that the dissenting opinion could come out at the same time?
No. They spent over a month writing this opinion. It was 168 pages long, had 655 footnotes. They sent it to him and say, time is of the essence, and so we're going to print this, and if you can get your dissent in here, like in the next couple of days, we'll include your dissent. Otherwise, we're just going to go with the majority, and you can file your dissent later.
Which is very bad form.
Oh, it took Jerry Smith took it very personally that this was a profound insult. And
when we come back, we'll get what the majority opinion was and the skewering of the majority opinion by the Circuit Court of Appeals judge on that 3-court panel, and then we'll see what the Supreme Court did. We're talking with Mark Pulliam. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
Hey folks, Al Green here for SatPhone. When you're on the go, you want to know you're connected. If it's a family vacation or an off-the-grid escape to a remote destination, having reliable communication helps you feel safe and secure. You can't afford to find yourself in a dead zone. That's why you need SatPhone. SatPhones are reliable, durable, and give you global coverage. If you can get outside, you can get in touch. It's that simple. Make calls from your SatPhone to any regular cell phone in the United States. The phones are $1,500 value, but you can get yours free. Just sign up for a 15-month plan, $94.95 a month. Get 150 minutes monthly that roll to the next month. Go 3 months without using them, that's fine. Yes, 3 months, 450 minutes, all yours. Visit SAT123.com or call 855-980-5830. SAT123.com, 855-980-5830. Get surety and security with your SatPhone. Call now.
The math is simple. Every dollar we waste on unnecessary federal supervision is a dollar we can't use to fight violent crime. The Safer Supervision Act cuts bureaucratic waste and frees up law enforcement resources to protect families from serious threats. Law enforcement officers across the country and Republicans in Congress agree this is a smarter way to improve public safety. Stop the waste, protect our communities, fix federal supervision. Visit safersupervision.com to help. Paid for by the Reform Action Fund.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals. Your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
How much did you win at Rosie's Gaming Emporium?
Hi, I'm Jerry from Richmond. I won a $23,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
I'm Tammy. I'm from Newport News, and I just won a $5,400 jackpot from Rosie's.
Hi, my name is Kim, and I'm from West Virginia, and I won $99,000 jackpot at Rosie's.
Are you ready? Learn more about Rosie's rewards and jackpots at rosiesgaming.com. Must be 18 or older. Problem gambling? Call 1-888-532-3500.
Is your fur baby looking a bit rough? Transform them from shaggy to snazzy with Beef Fur and After Pet Grooming in Marietta, Georgia. Their top-notch groomers pamper your pups with baths, custom cuts, and nail trims that'll have them strutting like show dogs. From mobile grooming vans to their cozy salon, they'll make your pet spa day a tail-wagging blast. Book now at beefurandaftergrooming.com. Beef Fur and After, where pets go from grr to glamorous. Woo.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at GlockStore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at GlockStore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
I didn't risk my life for this country just to watch career politicians wreck it.
Matt Van Epps, 9 combat tours, true American hero.
Now, I'm on a new mission to bring down prices, create good-paying jobs, and lower healthcare costs for working families. I'm Matt Van Epps, and I approve this message to fight for America, because that's what I've done my whole life.
Matt Van Epps for Congress.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
So let's get to the politics of this, Mark Pulliam. All-star panelist, author of Misrule of Law, retired attorney, very successful in the law. So we're talking about the case of the Texas reapportionment, which a 3-judge panel in a 2-1 ruling declared was unconstitutional. They claim that it violates the Voting Rights Act, basically.
Right.
Yeah. However, that was initially regarded as a huge political victory for the left and the Democrats. Oh, you're not going to get those extra 5 seats in Texas. As a result, California passed this proposition to basically eliminate virtually any Republican in the 52 members of the House of Representatives in California, and that's going to be a +5. Oh, it's going to hurt the Republicans. Never should have done this. Well, look, I think the Democrats are playing hardball everywhere they can. They're going to redistrict, just because,
if they haven't already.
Yeah, just because the Republicans were the first strikers here. That's irrelevant to me, because it's like the filibuster, right? The Democrats, if they get control of the Senate, they're going to get rid of it, and they're going to try to get the District of Columbia, Puerto Rico as states. They're going to pack the Supreme Court. It'll be just awful. Now, having said that, on the politics side, so this, the majority opinion was released. They didn't wait for the circuit court judge on the panel. He issued a blistering dissent subsequently. We'll get to that in a minute. But this was immediately appealed to the Supreme Court, and Justice Alito, who has the control over this circuit court. I think it's the Sixth Circuit? Yeah. Fifth Circuit. Thanks. He basically issued a stay
on Friday,
and now they're going to consider the merits of the case.
Right.
So
this was like an emergency flare.
Yeah.
That Jerry Smith's dissent. It was not just ire that he was, a rant that he was getting off his chest. He wanted to kind of get the full attention of the news cycle and the Supreme Court, and managed to do both. So last week, if you are on any social media platform in the center-right space, X, etc., that everybody was talking about the nuclear dissent by Jerry Smith. And it is astonishing. It's 106 pages long, and it begins with this quote, "Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night." And then it goes from there. And usually in a dissent, the disagreements are collegial, and they talk about the majority did this wrong and the majority did that wrong. Instead, he names Jeff Brown like 100 times by name, and you could tell it was personal. And he said some things that you don't usually see. And so I kind of looked at this as that Justice Scalia was noted for his acerbic dissents, but this goes beyond Scalia-like rhetoric, and it sort of descends into Don Rickles. It really, things like accusing the majority of pernicious judicial misbehavior.
Hold it. Pernicious judicial misbehavior. Now, to me, because we've been tracking the Kilmar-Abrego-Garcia case, I think that language could apply to Federal District Court Judge Paula Zinnes in the immigration case, for instance. And go down the list, virtually every Federal District Court judge appointed by Obama or Biden who is trying to put these nationwide injunctions to stop President Trump's actions, could describe their actions as well.
Well, and so I think what this will do is give visibility to this judicial insurrection that we've seen all across the country, and let the Supreme Court know if you don't stomp this out, you're going to lose the term supreme in your title, because basically the ship is going to be taken over by lower court pirates who are going to, I'm the captain of the ship now. And so he says, in my 37 years on the federal bench, this is the most outrageous conduct by a judge I have ever encountered in a case in which I've been involved. He goes on to say, the main winners from Judge Brown's opinion are George Soros and Gavin Newsom. And then he has footnotes explaining how I'm not exaggerating, and this isn't just partisan hyperbole. These witnesses all work for George Soros. All these people are paid partisan hacks, and we can't fall for this. We can't let this prevail. He says the obvious losers are the people of Texas and the rule of law. He says if there were a Nobel Prize for fiction, Judge Brown's opinion would be a prime candidate. And he says, in 37 years as a federal judge, I've served on hundreds of three-judge panels. This is the most blatant exercise of judicial activism I have ever witnessed. If this were a law school exam, the opinion would deserve an F, et cetera, et cetera.
Hold it. Now, that's to me, would you like to know why that's funny? Because I'm taking my constitutional law exam, midterm exam on a week from today. That's funny.
Well, good luck. He says, Judge Brown is an unskilled magician. The audience knows what's coming next, etc. So there's a lot to unpack in this decision. I did a blog post. I posted it this morning.
Well, tell us more about the points that he makes, because the argument was presented by, I guess, the witnesses were George Soros employees. Is that right?
Yeah, these are experts who, supposedly know about reapportionment. But what Jerry Smith says is that the most compelling witness in this 9-day trial was the person actually working for the state legislature who drew these maps. And he went through district by district and explained his methodology. According to Judge Smith, did so without notes. He knows this backwards and forwards, and explained very plainly that there was, his objective in redesigning these maps was to create Republican majorities in all these districts meeting certain criteria, and that's it. It was a partisan gerrymander.
So here's the thing: a partisan gerrymander. There's plenty of Supreme Court precedent that says that's entirely legal to be partisan. What you can't do is draw lines based upon race.
Right.
Now, it's interesting because I know here in Tennessee, when they redrew the lines, they were very careful. And it's partisan. In other words, what you're looking at is, in analyzing the elements of the district, the resident constituents, you're looking at R and D. You're not looking at black and white.
Right.
That's the point.
Right. And it's the intent of the legislature that's controlling. One of the things that Judge Brown's majority opinion did was put a lot of emphasis on some statements that were made by Harmeet Dillon when she, on behalf of the DOJ, encouraged the state of Texas to redraw these lines, claiming that they are currently racially questionable, and that might not have been the best move to make. But Judge Smith says it doesn't matter what she says. It doesn't matter what the Department of Justice says. The only thing that matters is what was the intent of the Texas legislature.
State legislature,
and
yeah.
There's only 100% consistent evidence that it was done for purely partisan reasons. And so if Judge Smith was trying to attract attention to this kind of case that's kind of wonky, not everybody's going to be interested in figuring out what's going on, boy, did he draw attention to it. And if he was trying to get the attention of the Supreme Court, waving his arms like, hey, you need to pay attention to this, this is something, requires a stay, he got it. And within days, the state of Texas made an emergency application for a stay of this decision and got it with Judge Alito. And so that, as a result, these new maps, what they call the 2025 map, will remain in effect pending Supreme Court review.
So I think my prediction is the Supreme Court will confirm the legality of these new maps in a 6-3 vote. That's my prediction.
And I think they're going to realize that we have to rein in these district judges. We have to be clearer about what the law is. We need to be emphatic about it so that there's no confusion.
Which is hilarious because you think about it. You think about, well, wouldn't these judges have learned this in law school and in 10, 15, 20 years of the practice of law? And the answer is, if you're an Obama-appointed judge or a Biden-appointed judge, you didn't learn it. It's not part of your DNA.
Or if you're a Trump-appointed judge who has Trump derangement syndrome, you have to learn the hard way, which is a 2x4 upside the head.
When we come back, Judge Boasberg in D.C. is in trouble, and he should be. Back after this.
This is Crom Carmichael, CEO of Solti. We got a wonderful email from one of our customers up east named Joe, and here's what he had to say. I started taking Solti almost out of desperation with little hope because I was resigned to the futility that although I was up to taking 2 statins a day, high cholesterol was something I just had to learn to live with. In fact, when I turned 60, after taking a stress cardio test, my doctor called me on a Saturday, which of course is never a good sign, and told me that I was clogged more than 95% of the people my age. I had an angioplasty and a stent procedure done at that time. Today, my stubborn triglycerides are only 1/3 of what they had been before starting taking Solti. My prescription statin dosage has shrunk from 60 milligrams to only 10 milligrams a day. My primary care doctor that I have had for many years still can't believe the results, and neither can I. Thank you, Solti, for providing such a wonderful product. And folks, I want to invite you to take care of your heart also by going to GodzillaHeart.com. That's GodzillaHeart.com. Use the code Godzilla at checkout, and you'll get a 50% discount on your initial shipment. Thanks so much.
The Katz and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby tackle today's biggest issues with a New York state of mind.
We are going to talk about dirty money.
This is a total failure of the media, the journalists, and the Democratic Party.
Treat yourself to a bite of the apple.
It's a common sense recap of the big stories.
Katz and Cosby, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
And those are the big headlines of the day.
Attorney General Miyares and John Fredericks talk about skill games.
They're unregulated slot machines.
They pop up in 7-Elevens in every corner of Virginia.
The General Assembly has spoken on this.
Skill games.
These things are illegal.
It's the Wild Wild West. Fights break out. Robberies increase.
Skill games.
They prey on the less fortunate.
I say it's a tax on the poor.
They're breaking the law.
My job is to enforce the law. These machines are not allowed.
Enforce the law and get them out of there.
When you see skill games, call the local sheriff.
These things are illegal.
Paid for by Churchill Downs.
Cold weather is here, and it's only getting colder. When you want instant whole room warmth, you go with Eden Pure, a trusted name for years on my show. Now they've done it again with the Eden Pure Gen 40 Plus infrared heater. This powerful compact unit gives you fast, even heat you can feel in seconds. Infrared heat warms you directly, not just the air around you, and it doesn't dry out the air. It's quiet, compact, and safe with multiple built-in safety shutoffs, and it heats up to 1,000 square feet. Perfect for the living room, bedroom, or office. And right now, Eden Pure is thanking our listeners. The Gen 40 Plus normally sells for $224, but Eden Pure is giving our VIP listeners an additional $50 off, bringing it to just $174. That's right, only $174 for state-of-the-art infrared heater. Now, this is a limited time offer with a strict limit of 3, and supplies are moving fast. So go to EdenPureDeals.com. Use promo code Godzilla50. EdenPureDeals.com. Promo code Godzilla50.
I'm Matt Van Epps, and I approve this message.
Meet woke liberal Afton Bain.
This is great. We've got our girl squad, and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is a win.
Afton Bain, so woke she thinks it's a win to harass police.
This is great. We've got our girl squad, and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is a win.
Woke liberal Afton Bain. When she wins, we lose.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress.
My fellow Americans, I was this close, very close, to buying from the lumber yards. These are sick people. But I turned my head at the last second, and I saw a big, beautiful ad for D.T. McCall's. These are highly respected people. If I had not turned my head at the last second, I would have been ripped off at some lumber yard for $200 in hidden charges, and D.T. McCall and Sons are never going to do that. They'd never do that to you. These are great people. I've known them for a long time. They have great deals, and I just have to say, nobody knows deals like I do. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. These are tremendous people. D.T. McCall & Sons. Check out one of their stores today.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
In studio, Mark Pulliam, our good friend, and the author of the blog Misrule of Law. Mark, before we get to the serious judicial stuff, I have a funny headline from the Babylon Bee. I want to read it to you, get your reaction to it. I don't want to dwell on it, but I think it's kind of funny. Headline: Average IQ in Congress expected to rise significantly after Marjorie Taylor Greene resigns. Oh, I don't know what she's thinking, what she's doing, but okay.
No,
she's got a lot of visibility.
Yeah, not necessarily in a good way.
No.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back to the serious. That's Babylon Bee, folks, not me. Although it's funny.
So when it comes to the swamp that is the federal bench in the District of Columbia, what you wish there was a Jerry Smith who could expose it all in a blistering dissenting opinion. But unfortunately, all the district judges up in D.C. are all a bunch of left-wing hacks.
They're left-wing, and the Circuit Court of Appeals.
Not much better.
Not much better.
And so there's not a lot of adult supervision up there. And so this, Supreme Court is going to be, and Congress has to exercise its oversight to make sure that all this abuse is controlled. And the chief judge of the district court in the D.C. is James Boasberg. He's the guy that ordered Trump to bring the planes back. These illegal aliens who've already been deported, who the plane has left, they're almost at their destination. Turn the plane around and bring them back.
He did that in a verbal order given in an emergency Saturday meeting when the planes were already, 2 of the 3 planes had already taken off.
And the Supreme Court later determined district judges don't have that kind of universal sweeping jurisdiction to issue injunctions, but he's pursuing contempt proceedings against the Department of Justice anyway. So he's a guy who's deeply committed. He's a rogue judge of the worst type. He's the chief judge of the worst federal bench in the United States. He has an agenda, and he's going to try to bring the Trump administration down.
So let me just add, though, this is the guy who signed off on the subpoenas for 8 U.S. senators, all Republican, issued by the Department of Justice under the special prosecutor there, Jack Smith. And then he's also the guy that issued the gag orders to Verizon and AT&T and said, yeah, give all these phone details to the prosecution, but you cannot tell the senators about this for 1 year.
Or the Senate itself, even though there's a federal law that says phone records of senators cannot be subpoenaed without notifying the Senate so that the Senate can determine whether some privilege exists, deliberative process privilege or otherwise, that would intrude into the separation of powers. So Boasberg, you could say, okay, he's not to blame for issuing the subpoenas. You could blame...
Well, the subpoenas were issued, but he approved them.
Yeah.
And then he also issued a separate gag order.
This protective order, you can blame him.
Yeah.
It's an illegal gag order. And so you've got judges not only going along with some kind of witch hunt against the Republican elected officials, but then violates the law. And so and then also turns out that part of this Arctic frost, it wasn't just these 8 Republican senators. The subpoenas were also issued against Jim Jordan, the House Judiciary Committee chairman, covering his phone records for a period of 2 years. Also, they went after Kevin McCarthy, who
let's talk about that. Yeah. This is the breaking story about Justice Committee Chairman Jim Jordan. Jack Smith got a subpoena. Now we've got this report. I think it's from Fox News. Who signed off on the subpoena? And there was a similar gag order. Turns out, it's a retired, according to Fox News, it's a retired magistrate judge, David A., full name not publicly detailed. Well, we know that there is a retired magistrate judge who was brought in to the District of Columbia by James Boasberg in May of 2023 when he was named the chief judge of the Federal District of Columbia, David A. Baker. So it sounds like it's the same guy.
Yeah, and so you talked about skullduggery, as if the swamp isn't deep enough in the D.C. bench already, that you have Boasberg recruiting retired magistrate judges from out of state to come in and help him do his dirty work.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah. And so Boasberg, he put himself in the crosshairs, and now he is in the Republican crosshairs. So you've got a bipartisan, not bipartisan, but bicameral. You got House and Senate Republicans have gotten together with Chuck Grassley leading the charge, have issued 8 questions to Boasberg saying, answer these 8 questions or else. And
does he have to appear before the committee? Or
I think he can do it in writing.
In writing, by December 4th?
But he has to do it by December 4th. And so the headline with the Federalist, the GOP leaders grill Judge Grossberg for allowing Jack Smith to spy on the Senate. And while this is going on, and while we're waiting for Boasberg to either answer the questions or to take the fifth or to refuse or whatever he's going to do, that we have articles of impeachment have been filed in the House against him.
Brendan Gill from Texas.
He's doing a great job. And then you have Eric Schmidt, who is a former attorney general in Missouri, now a senator from Missouri, and he is on board with asking the chief judge of the D.C. Circuit.
Now so just to be clear, there are 94 district court federal districts in America, and they each have, that's the first trial court in the federal courts, and they each have 12 or 15 federal district court judges. They'll have a chief judge. In this case, it's James Boasberg. But above them, in District of Columbia, because it's the center of the government, there's a Circuit Court of Appeals. And there, I don't know, there's another 12 justices there. But they've gone, these senators have gone directly to the chief judge of the Circuit Court of Appeals to ask this.
And he's a Democrat appointee, but he's regarded as an honest Democrat appointee.
Oh, whoa. Really?
Yeah.
We have some?
Yeah. And people were actually hoping that when Biden had his vacancy on the Supreme Court, that the chief judge would be appointed, and instead of an affirmative action pick, which is what we got with KBJ. But so Eric Schmidt and a group of other senators have filed a statement with the D.C. Circuit urging that Boasberg be suspended pending answering these questions, pending the outcome of this impeachment articles, et cetera, because basically there's large questions about his impartiality, his judicial temperament, et cetera. And to our credit, here in Tennessee Senator Bill Hagerty is one of the signatories to that letter. That at some point, Congress has to push back against this judicial insurrection, or we're going to lose the separation of powers, we're going to lose our sovereignty, and it's going to be taken over by a cabal of unelected left-wing partisans.
Yeah, no, that's clear. And I think institutionally, Chief Justice John Roberts recognizes that.
Well, and unfortunately, they're buddies. Roberts and Boasberg are buddies. That I've read things that he might be the godfather of each other's children, etc.
Well, the other thing about Boasberg is Boasberg was appointed by Roberts to head the FISA court for a period of time.
Yeah,
so,
and you think you would put only the squeakiest, most impartial judges in charge of that because of the potential for political treachery. Instead, he put a fox in charge of the chicken coop, and what happened is Merrick Garland and all these people, the FBI, they just went berserk, they lied, they cheated, and they came up with these phony warrants and were surveilling the Trump administration and his campaign. So I'd say that just like this shootout over Texas reapportionment, the fate of James Boasberg will sort of determine whether we still have a separation of powers, whether Congress and the Trump administration have enough resolve to stand down this incredible rogue judicial activism. And Boasberg is the poster child for all of that. And he needs to be impeached. He needs to be disciplined. He needs to be overturned. Ultimately, he needs to be removed from the bench.
Agreed. How frequent is it for a federal district judge to be suspended?
I could not tell you that.
And I guess I'm guessing that the suspension could come from the chief judge of the Circuit Court of Appeals.
I assume so. I think most of the times when suspension is an issue, it's due to impropriety in the nature of corruption, tax evasion, etc., as opposed to just being a rogue judge making crazy decisions. But the whole precedent for impeaching judges based on misreading the law needs to be revisited because it's become a real thing. It's an undeniable thing. It's happening under our noses. And if it's allowed to continue, they could tie the Trump administration up into a straitjacket that would prevent.
Clearly, that what they want to do. Our buddy Grok says there are no legal grounds on which a federal district judge can simply be, quote, suspended from duties while remaining in office. That's what they say.
I think, administratively, the courts, police themselves, and it may be that there's no statutory guidelines, but that the D.C. Circuit has, I think, almost de novo control over the judiciary.
Yeah.
Inferior judge. He's an inferior judge. And then
he is inferior.
Everybody keeps talking about these magistrates as if they're judges.
They're not.
They're not. That we don't call a paralegal a lawyer just because they do some of the things that a lawyer does. These magistrate judges are like para-judges.
Para-judges. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
They're clerks. They're fancy clerks.
They are not. The magistrate judges have brought in to cover the workload, but they are not Senate confirmed.
They're not, and so they don't go through any of that scrutiny, and it's, I think, bogus to treat them like they are a real judge.
We'll have more with Mark Pulliam and Misrule of Law when we get back. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
Ponder this. Most of us are familiar with social media influencers. You know, people that claim expertise on some probably irrelevant topic. Many hours are wasted following people online who do not add an ounce of value to our lives. There is only one influencer who matters, and you should be following him and his messages every day. He holds the keys to our peace. He shows us how to live lives of meaning. He is there to help us carry our daily crosses. He is Jesus Christ, and he is the influencer extraordinaire. Are you one of his followers? Or are you wasting time with useless information that will not bring peace and love to your life? Ask the Lord each day to provide you with spiritual influence that will change your life forever. I'm Susie Kelly, and I am passionately Catholic.
Did you ever stop and think, why do the wealthy pay less taxes than we do? One reason, they take full advantage of the IRS tax code. Today's tax code is over 2 million pages. Who can read that? Remember the 2016 debate with Hillary Clinton? When asked why he doesn't pay more taxes, President Trump had the perfect answer. He said, if you don't like the current tax code, change it. I follow the very laws that you wrote. That's where Julio Gonzalez and his company, Tax Engineered Services, comes in. Julio's team looks at your taxes after they're done, but before you file them with the IRS. He doesn't get between you and your accountant. He reviews your taxes, makes his recommendations, and only gets 5 to 10% of what he saved you. No money up front, no cost. It's tax literacy for MAGA. He also sees what grants you may qualify for. For more information, text ETS to the number 26786. That's ETS to 26786. Text now.
Lifestyles Unlimited is a real estate education group that gives you the roadmap and resources to start building income through real estate. You'll learn practical strategies for using investment properties to create extra income and make informed decisions, one step at a time. Join today for just $297. That's a 60% savings off the regular price of our real estate education program. Text RADIO to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Is your fur baby looking a bit rough? Transform them from shaggy to snazzy with Befur and After Pet Grooming in Marietta, Georgia. Their top-notch groomers pamper your pups with baths, custom cuts, and nail trims that'll have them strutting like show dogs. From mobile grooming vans to their cozy salon, they'll make your pet's spa day a tail-wagging blast. Book now at BefurandAfterGrooming.com. Befur and After, where pets go from grr to glamorous.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com, listen to Michael Patrick Leahy, and make America great again.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
In studio, retired attorney, our good friend Mark Pulliam. We're talking about also the author of Misrule of Law, the great blog. Okay, so now let's get into pronoun wars. What's the deal here?
Okay, so students of constitutional law, people that attended law school even long ago like I did, are aware of this famous case, Tinker versus Des Moines Independent School District from 1969, where some students in Des Moines, Iowa, wanted to wear black armbands to high school to protest the Vietnam War. School administrators felt like that would be disruptive. It would, interfere with the educational environment, and they said you can't do that. The students took the case to court, ended up in the Supreme Court, and in a famous decision, Abe Fortas, who ended up getting chased off the court, wrote the decision and said, quote, "Neither students nor teachers shed their constitutional rights to freedom of expression at the schoolhouse gate." And so student expression won. It became clear that students they don't have complete First Amendment rights, but they have some significant amount of constitutional rights. So you might wonder, 56 years later, after this Tinker precedent was established, what is it that students are complaining about in terms of their freedom of expression, their free speech being interfered with? Well, as turns out that our Sixth Circuit here, we're covered by the Sixth Circuit, but
Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Michigan, right?
I think that's right.
Yeah.
And so this case recently was decided, came out of Ohio, and what it was a school district in Ohio had enacted a policy that required students at this high school to address their classmates by the pronouns that consisted with whatever gender identity their classmate had selected. So
by the way, let's just stop. How stupid is that?
It's incredibly stupid.
Okay.
It's beyond stupid.
This is why our public schools are a disaster. But keep rolling.
I tried to, was telling my wife about this, and she just wouldn't even listen to it. Like, that's too stupid to even listen to. I'm not going to listen to it. Well, but so they adopted this policy, basically forcing students to pretend to go along with this lie that if you're talking about a biological male student who claims to be non-binary or transgender, you have to refer to him as her, use their pronouns, and if you don't do that, you get into trouble. You could be disciplined, and no student wants to have discipline on their record, interfere with their chances of getting into college, etc. So a group called Defending Education was formed to represent these kids, and they went to court and said, this is a violation of these students' free speech rights. You can't force high school students to say things that they disagree with that are incorrect to satisfy some crazy impulse that the school board has, like you have to protect this tiny minority of people who are suffering from gender dysphoria, which is a form of mental illness. Well, it ended up in the Sixth Circuit, and the first time round, it was heard by a 3-judge panel, which is the way appellate courts normally hear things, and by a 2-to-1 decision, the school board won. The students lost. That no, even after Tinker, even in the Sixth Circuit, you don't have the type of First Amendment right. You can be forced to lie and use fake pronouns. Well, it went en banc, which means that
all of the court. 12 justices, right?
13? Here there were 17.
17, okay.
Judges in the Sixth Circuit, and it was reheard en banc, and by a 10-7 decision, the panel was overturned and the students won, that no, you cannot be forced to use these ridiculous fake pronouns. But here's the crazy part. Not only did it have to go en banc 10-7, but the decisions, the majority opinion, the dissents, all the concurring opinions took up 112 pages to say that no, students can't be required to say things that are biologically false under pain of discipline.
You just said that in one sentence.
Yeah. Well, and so that's where we find ourselves.
Yeah.
Now, here's the depressing, or at least the illuminating aspect of this.
We aren't depressed here. We are illuminating.
Okay, so there's 17 judges on the Sixth Circuit. 10 were appointed by Republican presidents going back to George H.W. Bush. 7 were appointed by various Democrat presidents. Now, can you guess how the alignment was?
Pure partisan.
Pure partisan.
Yeah.
All 7 Democratic appointees stuck with the trans agenda, saying, no, you have to use these fake pronouns because it might upset somebody who's mentally ill. And now, so this is already kind of sounding silly, but it's even sillier than it might sound because a few years ago, the Sixth Circuit decided a very similar case involving a college professor in Ohio. Why is Ohio generating all these trans pronoun cases? So this is a guy who had taught for 25 years at a small state-funded college in Ohio, and the state college had a policy that says professors have to call their students by their preferred pronouns, and if you don't call them by their preferred pronouns, you can be disciplined. He declined, was disciplined, and he's a religious guy, and he requested religious accommodations to this. Anyway, the Sixth Circuit decided like 5 years ago that he couldn't be disciplined for that. So how do you end up
I know.
with 7 Democrats on the court still saying students can be required to do this?
Because Democrat-appointed judges do not follow the rule of law, bottom line.
Yeah.
By a vast majority. And on that note, Mark Pulliam, we're already out of time.
Oh,
how much fun. You got more to come, right?
Next week.
There'll
be more.
All
There'll
right.
be more.
Up next, if all goes well, State Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson will be here in studio with us. Back after this, I'm Michael Patrick Leahy.
All right.
The Cats and Cosby Show.
It's the top news of the day.
John Catsimatidis and Rita Cosby tackle today's biggest issues with a New York state of mind.
We are going to talk about dirty money.
This is a total failure of the media, the journalists, and the Democratic Party.
Treat yourself to a
Big stories.
Cats and Cosby, weekdays 5 Eastern, 4 Central on the stations of the John Fredericks Media Network.
And those are the big headlines of the day.
Let's be real. Losing weight isn't just about looking good. It's about taking back control of your overall health. 42% of adults in America are classified as obese, and obesity is directly linked to severe health issues. If you've tried diets and different workouts with no success, it's not your fault. Big Food and Big Pharma have rigged the system against you with contradicting information, leaving you confused. But there's good news. The Wellness Company just launched Drop, a GLP-1 peptide oral drop formula developed by their chief medical board, specifically designed to support your metabolism, curb cravings, and help you shed weight. That's right, no injections, no risk of the severe side effects we're seeing with the Ozempic. Start your weight loss journey today and get $100 off, plus free shipping. Go to twc.health/Godzilla and use promo code Godzilla100. That's twc.health/Godzilla, promo code Godzilla100. Take action today for a healthier tomorrow.
John Fredericks loves his radio and TV audience, but did you know how to follow the Godzilla of Truth wherever you go? Download the John Fredericks Radio Show app to listen live nationwide. For the daily chit-chat, Trucking the Truth, download the Getter app and join the morning fun on Getter Live from 6 to 10 a.m. Follow John Fredericks on Getter.
Get your truth by the truckload from America's Godzilla of Truth, The John Fredericks Show, weekdays 5 to 9 a.m. on WENO Nashville, KQPN West Memphis.
Breaking news at Town Hall. I'm Bob Agnew in Washington. AAA says it's going to be busy on the roads this Thanksgiving travel week. AAA spokeswoman Aisha Diaz.
We're projecting nearly 82 million people. That would be a new record, not only in the overall category, but we're also projecting record travel in the air and on the roads.
The FAA is preparing for its busiest Thanksgiving in 15 years with more than 360,000 flights scheduled. A northwestern Nigerian state becomes a fourth in that country to shut down virtually all of its schools in the wake of a spate of mass kidnappings.
They believe that by kidnapping, especially young children, they'll
be able to convince the government to pay them ransoms quick. It's worth noting that with President Trump's recent comments about insecurity in northern Nigeria and the targeting of Christians by Islamist insurgents, some analysts have suggested that this could have served as some sort of incentive for gangs to think to themselves, well, as the U.S. is putting pressure on the Nigerian government, this might be a good time for us to try and extort them for money.
That's BBC's Mayeni Jones reporting. He says with the U.S. exerting pressure to stop the persecution of Christians, those suspect groups are trying to extort the Nigerian government at this time. A vintage blue VW bus that survived last January's California wildfire made its shiny reappearance during last week's L.A. Auto Show, a testament to months of painstaking restoration from heat damage by Volkswagen technicians.
At first, owner Megan Weinrob thought her 1977 Type 2 microbus named Azul was a goner.
We got text messages, pictures that it survived, and then that one photo went viral.
Volkswagen technician Farland Robertson says the VW had smoke damage, blistered paint, rust, and a busted window.
I'm definitely throwing my hat in the ring to help out here.
Weinrob says she hopes her restored Volkswagen represents hope for people who lost things in the fire. I'm Donna Warder.
More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, it's Mike Gallagher, host of The Mike Gallagher Show. I don't mess around when it comes to saving you money. Right now, rates have dropped to the lowest level in over a year and a half. That means if you bought your home or refinanced in the last 3 years, you could be saving hundreds of dollars every month. Lower your rate, lower your monthly payment, even kick that pesky PMI to the curb. And get this, you can skip 2 full months of mortgage payments. But that's not all. Fellowship Home Loans just rolled out something incredible. Their very own HELOC and lines of credit. Approval in just 5 minutes. Money in your account in as little as 4 days. It's the easiest system you've ever used. You can do it yourself online. Whether you want to pay off bills, tackle a home project, cover education, or even a wedding, Fellowship Home Loans makes it simple to leverage the money that's already sitting in your house. Just go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending guided by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
Here's Rich Thomason with the Midday Wall Street Business Report.
Wall Street kicked off the holiday shortened trading week with gains following last week's bumpy ride. This week, U.S. markets will be closed Thursday for the Thanksgiving holiday, which will be followed by the Black Friday and Cyber Monday retail rushes. Novo Nordisk shares tumbled 10% after the Danish drug maker reported its Alzheimer's drug failed to slow progression of the disease in a trial. On Friday, the S&P 500 gained 1%, the Dow climbed 1.1%. The Nasdaq Composite rose 0.9%. Nearly 90% of stocks in the S&P 500 advanced. It was a fitting finish for a week that left the S&P 500 just 4.2% below its record, but also forced investors to stomach the sharpest hour-to-hour swings since a sell-off in April. I'm Rich Thomason.
Breaking news and analysis at townhall.com. This is Thanksgiving week, but with Christmas also rapidly approaching, a new game called Manger in Danger is gaining traction with parents nationwide as a counterpoint to the more secular Elf on the Shelf activities. Pastor Grant Castleberry of King's Chapel Church in Raleigh, North Carolina, says the Manger in Danger concept originated with his wife.
One morning, she had this idea to take the manger from our nativity, hide it, and based on that story, say the manger's in danger, Herod's looking for the manger, you go find the manger. And our kids just came down the stairs. They loved it, spent the next 30 minutes looking for it. And so it just became something that we started doing every day.
In addition to the game itself, there are daily devotions families can participate in, timed from December 1st through the 25th. Manger in Danger is available on Pastor Castleberry's media website, unashamedtruth.org, and also on
It's the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, broadcasting live from downtown Nashville. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
And welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. We are delighted to welcome to our microphones our very good friend, Tennessee State Senate Majority Leader representing Williamson County, Jack Johnson. Welcome, Jack.
Hey, Michael. Good to be with you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, happy Thanksgiving to you. They used to say of James Brown, the singer.
Yes.
Hardest working man in show
business.
I am sitting next to the hardest working man in Tennessee politics, Jack Johnson.
Well, you're very kind.
But you are out there. I mean, you're knocking on doors. You're talking to people. I might get too tired just hearing this, but tell me the things that you've been doing over the past week or so. I mean, how many meetings have you gone to?
Well, it's a lot. It's a lot. You know, the thing about this position that I have the honor of holding, serving in the state Senate representing Williams County, I'm biased, but I think I represent the greatest county and the greatest state and the greatest country that's ever existed in the history of mankind.
Let me just stop for a moment. I completely agree as a resident of Williamson County. However, not a resident of your state Senate district.
That's true.
There's a little notch there
down at the southern end of the county, and
Joey Hensley represents.
Yeah,
us.
my good friend Dr. Joey Hensley represents the city of Spring Hill on the Williamson County side. I have the rest of the county, but no, I love this community, and I am very active in a number of different things, civic groups, nonprofits, and there's just a lot of good stuff going on. And to affirm what I just said, I've already had 3 meetings, I think, this morning.
Okay, let's talk about this. So here it is. I mean, it's 11 o'clock. You've had 3 meetings. Tell us what did you do? Where have you been this morning?
Sure. Well, a couple of them were with constituents. One was with an advocacy group working on a great piece of legislation for next year. But my most recent meeting, just up here at Merides in downtown Franklin.
Oh, yeah,
great spot to meet
great
folks.
Spot. Merides.
The only issue about meeting someone to have a conversation at Merides is you see so many people in there that you know, and so you stop and have to say hi to folks. But it was a meeting with a wonderful lady that is a relatively new person to Tennessee and Williamson County, and she was telling me the story of how she and her husband were living in a different state, and I'm going to do my best to keep this anonymized, but they were living in a different state, got very fed up. It wasn't California, but it was another state, and they got fed up.
Well, there's so many that you can get fed up in.
Excuse me. And they made the decision that they were going to leave, and they did an exhaustive amount of research about the freest states, the lowest taxed, best business climate, all the things, standing up to radical woke leftist agendas. And they narrowed it down to Tennessee and said, okay, we're moving to Tennessee. And then when they did an honest evaluation of where in Tennessee they wanted to land, it was Franklin, Tennessee, right here in Williamson County. So, but it's a lot of hard work to make that happen, and I love it.
When did they move here?
I'd say 6 months ago, probably.
So, okay, this is interesting because to talk about how great Tennessee is, I can talk about this forever, as you can, right? So I moved here in 91 from California. You moved here in 91 or 92?
91, yeah. 91. We talked about that.
Yeah.
We came about the same time.
And what I love about this is, so I've been a political junkie my whole life, but in California, it's like, you can't connect to anybody. Even like, you can't even talk to a county commissioner.
Right.
I walked into the state capitol, and the Secretary of State's office was open. And I knocked on the door, and I just walked in, and I talked with the Secretary of State for about 20 minutes. It's like, what a great place. And he was a Democrat at the time, but he was very nice, very gracious. He was very Tennessee nice. So this constituent calls you up and says, hey, Jack, let's get together.
Mm-hmm.
It only lived here 6 months. And you met with him, right?
Yeah. Well, and she called my office 2 or 3 weeks ago and had a concern about an issue, and we've talked on the phone a couple of times. We met in person today, and I'll give you another example. There's a fairly prominent business that relocated to Williamson County maybe 18 months ago, and I've become friends with the individual who's running that business, and he's called me about a couple of things, and he said, man, I just can't believe, and he was a transplant from California. He said, if I had called my city alderman or my county commissioner or state senator or something, if I got a call back at all, I'd be lucky to be within 2 or 3 weeks. My family and I, we were vacationing at Yellowstone, and back in June, and he called my cell phone number, and I'm walking down the street to Bozeman, Montana, or wherever I am, and I answered his call, and he said, and he found out that I was on vacation, and he said, I just can't get over the fact that I call my state senator. He's on vacation with his family, and he answered on the first ring. And I don't say that to brag. I say that's how we are in Tennessee. You're right. It's relational, and that's how good government comes about. You listen to people about their problems. We figure out a way to solve them.
Yeah, exactly right. And of course, that's to the point of another business moving into Williamson County. We were driving on just south of 65 on Goose Creek Parkway, right? And the Peytonville Road exit. And look to the left. They're building an In-N-Out Burger.
Yeah.
And I think that the headquarters is going to be right next to it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh, this is beyond fabulous, because if you are a fan of burgers, my favorite burgers have not been here in Tennessee until just now. In-N-Out Burgers, they're moving their whole offices from California to Tennessee, right here in Williamson County.
That's right.
Isn't that great?
And you look at a company of that size and that amount of revenue, and they could locate anywhere. They could go anywhere in the country. And when they decided that they wanted to get out of California, understandably, with everything going on there, they did the same type of research and settled on Tennessee, and more specifically Williamson County, more specifically Franklin. And that's a good thing. Now, to be clear, growth brings challenges, and those are things we're working very hard on relative to traffic and infrastructure needs and so forth. And but it's a good problem to have, because these companies are providing jobs, they provide tax revenue, keep our taxes low, and you and I, being free market, small government guys, we want a thriving private sector. And if you have that, and you got good job opportunities and thriving small businesses, medium-sized businesses, and large businesses, it solves a lot of problems.
Yeah, it really does. And of course, in Tennessee, when people look at this and they say, we do have an economic development department of the state. One of the things that, I've been more than a little critical of some of the monies that have gone to some of the larger corporations. I'm getting the feeling, though, now that the ideas in economic development here in the state of Tennessee are, we're pretty darn good. And just come on in and experience all the wonderful things we have here in the low income tax. And, all of those past days when people got, money in various forms to come here, that might be a little bit part of the past.
Well, and when you look at it's not just having a favorable business climate, regulatory environment, low taxes, all those things you mentioned. Obviously, our geography is wonderful, because what is it? I think we're within a day's drive of something like 70%.
70% of the country,
of the country's population. So we got a great geographical location. We got great weather. All those different things. And so you're right. The vast majority of businesses that are either expanding or growing or relocating to Tennessee, they're doing it because of all of those things that we already have in place. Now, we do have a very responsive government when it comes to, like you mentioned, In-N-Out Burgers. And I have no internal knowledge of, but if there were road improvements that needed to be done, or widening a road, or putting in a turn
those
lane,
things make
or
sense.
Power, companies that need electric and that type of thing, we're going to take care of that.
When we come back, it's election season, and we'll talk about, I guess you're up for re-election.
I am, next year.
We'll talk about that when we get back. He's Jack Johnson, Tennessee State Senate Majority Leader. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy. The website, TennesseeStar.com. Back after this.
Hi folks, John Fredericks here for Freedom Alliance. Veterans are still struggling with the wounds of war. They came home with injuries that changed them forever. The flag-burning troublemakers in our streets remind me how fortunate we are to have patriots who served and fought, sacrificed, and never complained. We need to support them through organizations like the Freedom Alliance. It's Military Appreciation Month and time to support those who serve. Freedom Alliance is caring for combat veterans and military families. Combat veterans fought in the worst, most dangerous places on earth. Freedom Alliance takes them to nature's most most relaxing locations so they can heal. Freedom Alliance gives injured troops mortgage-free homes, new cars, and all-terrain wheelchairs. For wounded vets, there's nothing like the stability of your own home, the reinsurance of a reliable vehicle, or the independence of a wheelchair that navigates snow, ice, beach, pasture, or most any terrain. Let's fight for those who fought for us. Go to freedomalliance.org/Godzilla and make a monthly gift that will improve the life of a military hero. That's freedomalliance.org/Godzilla. Make a contribution today.
If you're like me, most moms find it difficult to prioritize self-care. Hi, it's Colleen, Program Director at the John Fredericks Media Network. With the demands of programming 13 radio stations, it's easy to forget about the things I should do for myself daily. And that's why I started with our company's Women's Challenge with Native Path Collagen Peptides. It's affordable and convenient care in just 1 scoop a day. There are so many incredible health benefits like bone and joint support, metabolism booster, and hair, skin, and nail improvement. I like to take a moment each day to prioritize myself and indulge in the health-boosting benefits of Native Path Collagen Peptides. I love mixing it up with all the different smoothie recipes, too. Learn more about Native Path Collagen Peptides and read 7 important reasons why you should be taking collagen peptides at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Prioritize your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today and get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
Target.com. Target.com is an online e-commerce tire retailer. We are here to serve the American public with the best possible customer service, the best pricing, and we make it extremely easy. We have many name brands and a lot of low-cost tires. The price is right, and it's easy. You go online to Target.com, Tireget.com, Target.com. You go there, you put your zip code in, all the inventory displays right in front of you. You can call in for help if you want to. We'll help you get the tire that you need. But we will take the tires you buy and at no extra charge deliver them to the dealer right by your house where they will be installed at the market price. It's easy. The best price, the best service. Great people to deal with. Thank you for going to Target.
I didn't risk my life for this country just to watch career politicians wreck it.
Matt Van Epps, 9 combat tours. True American hero.
Now, I'm on a new mission to bring down prices, create good-paying jobs, and lower healthcare costs for working families. I'm Matt Van Epps, and I approve this message to fight for America, because that's what I've done my whole life.
Matt Van Epps for Congress.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. In studio, our very good friend, Tennessee State Senate Majority Leader and State Senator from Williamson County, Jack Johnson. So, it's an election year for you, Jack.
It's a big election year in Tennessee. We got a governor's race. We got half of the state Senate. The odd number districts are up, and then all 99 House members. And then it's also the cycle, too, really important, where your county offices are up. County mayor, sheriff, county trustee, county commission, all those offices. And then, of course, here in Williamson County, our long-serving county mayor, who's done such a great job, Rogers Anderson, is retiring. So we've got an open county mayor's race in Williamson County. So, yeah, it'll be a big year next year.
Now, in terms of the county mayor's race, or the county offices, a little different timeline.
It is.
The primaries are in May, and the general is in August for the county offices.
That's correct.
Now, for the state legislature and for the governor's race
and federal offices,
the primary is in August.
That's right.
And the general is in November. That can be a little confusing to people at times.
It can, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I try to educate. And we have so many new people moving in that are not familiar with that system, but you're exactly right. In May, and I'm sorry I don't know the exact date, but in May there will be a primary for those county and local offices, school board, Count.
I think it's May 5th. I think
county offices and that type of thing. And so there'll be a primary if the Democrats have a primary and the Republicans. So those nominees. So when you go to vote in August, you'll have a general election ballot to vote for either the Republican or the Democratic nominee, and then it'll be the primary for state and federal. And then, of course, November will be the general.
We talk about this on the radio a lot, but you're right. A lot of people are new to the state. I think maybe, just maybe, I had to try to organize a Welcome to Tennessee evening.
Yeah, like a civics.
A little civics event. Yeah. We'll invite, invite the governor, the attorney general, maybe some of the Supreme Court justices.
Yeah.
And the state legislators.
Love it.
And county administrators. And just say, how exactly does it work in Tennessee? Because people come in and they try to figure it out. It takes a while.
It does.
To figure it out.
And I think you would agree with me. I always say that the government closest to you is the one that can impact your life the most. And yet that May primary historically is a fairly low turnout. And you're voting for some really, really important offices. It's a little bit higher in the August general for county and then primary for state and federal. And then November, it's a huge turnout, to come out vote for governor, or if it's the other 2-year cycle for president.
Yeah.
But you really need to get people engaged in those earlier elections.
Yeah, and again, for like the new people coming in and saying, now, when are these elections? What's it made for? And then just understanding the structure of government a little bit.
That's right.
It takes a while to understand. Now, this will be your, fourth term? Or fifth?
In my fifth right now.
You're in your fifth right now.
So it'd be my sixth.
That's what you call longevity.
Well, we've talked about this before, and I just really love state government. I love what we've been able to accomplish. We certainly have challenges, things we need to work on moving forward, but I've had opportunities to run for federal office or Congress, and I just have no desire to. I really love the state Senate. I've had, as you mentioned, I've had the honor of being elected to be the Republican leader there, and I just think we're doing such good work. And I want to protect what we've done and continue to make sure that Tennessee is the most conservative and the freest state in America.
All very worthy. Now, so you then have a primary in August, and then the Republican nominee from August will then become run in November. In Williamson County, it's really going to be the primary. You never take anything for granted.
Sure.
But in the general, typically Williamson County is 60-40, 65-35.
About 2-1.
Yeah, typically.
Yeah. President Trump was right at that. When you look at the November 2024 ballot, it was about 2-1 ish, and we've been maintaining that. But some folks have had concerns with all these California people in New York and Illinois. Is it going to start to change the demographics from a partisan standpoint of Williamson County? And so far, we've not seen that. So
not seen it yet. Yeah,
not seen any erosion in that, which is a really good thing.
So in 2022, you had a challenger, and you won. It was a closer race than people thought it might be. That same individual announced in September that he was running against you. But then over the weekend, I think late Friday, we broke the story. We got it first, by the way. He said he's withdrawing from the race. So right now, you don't have a challenger. But the filing deadline is in March?
That's correct. March. I think it's March 16th.
So, but you don't seem to be letting up in terms of your activities.
No. And someone gave me really good advice back when I first ran, because it's easy when you're in that situation to be distracted by what others are doing.
Right.
When I first ran, it was in a 6-way primary.
6 ways?
6 ways.
Wow.
And so you would hear that this person's doing that or that person's doing this. I got some really good advice, which I've tried to adhere to. My actions are not dictated by what anyone else is doing.
Right.
I'm very proud of our conservative record of accomplishment in Tennessee. I've been a big part of that. We've got a great group in the General Assembly. And again, Tennessee is the most conservative, best managed state in America. I'll argue anyone who wants to argue that. But we want to keep it that way. And so my job as the state senator for this amazing county is to be visible, be accessible, be accountable to my constituents, my bosses. That's how I refer to my constituents. They're my bosses. They're the ones who elect me. And so I work hard to do that each and every day. And nothing changes by whether I have opposition or don't have opposition. I'm not going to let up. I'm going to keep doing what I've been doing.
And I think probably somebody will file. Probably,
perhaps,
but you're going to be running through the tape.
It doesn't change what I do
at all.
I use the analogy. Our Senate terms are 4 years. It's like a contract, and so when you're elected, you get a 4-year contract to go and work for the people of your district. And if you want to renew that contract, then you have to be held accountable to the people who gave you the contract in the first place. And have you done what you said you were going to do? Have you worked hard? Have you been responsive? Have you been accessible to your constituents? And have you represented their conservative values? And I believe I have. And that's the message I'm taking out to the voters of Williamson County.
How do you do the mindset of the voters of Williamson County are your boss? Every one of them, your bosses.
Absolutely.
And what the population of Williamson County now is, 250,000?
Right.
Of which, there's 80,000, 90,000 voters, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
They're all your bosses, and they all have a claim on your time. How do you manage that? I mean, okay, what do you do when somebody says, Jack Johnson, why did you do this? And sometimes people are very irate, and they start out not really interested in listening to you, but telling you how angry they are. That's happened occasionally, hasn't it?
Oh, it has. It has. But
How do you deal with that, Jack?
What I've found, Michael, is that people want to be heard, especially by their elected officials. And so I listen, and I will listen to people. And, yeah, sometimes people get pretty worked up. But when you listen to them, you find out why they're worked up. And you're able to have a good, productive conversation. You're not going to make everyone happy all the time. But if you are accessible and available and do your best to try to explain how you arrived at a particular decision, even if someone thinks you did the wrong thing or you voted the wrong way, generally you can walk away friends, shake hands, and say, we didn't agree on this one, but I bet we're going to agree on the other 99 out of 100. And let's stay friends and let's keep working together, because at the end of the day, most all of us want the same thing for our community. We want safe neighborhoods. We want a strong economy. We want jobs. Want to support our law enforcement, and we have those things in Williamson County. We just have to protect it.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the Tennessee nice way, right, of dealing with people. But still, I mean, that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
Your bosses.
It's a lot of people, and I give my cell number to anyone who wants it. And
really,
and so yeah, I give my cell number to anyone who wants it, and I get lots of calls, lots of texts, and lots of emails.
Is there like a time boundary on that? When do you stop answering phone calls?
Well,
what time of day?
Kind of within reason. It varies. Sometimes last night I was sitting there watching football, and I got a couple of text messages, and so I responded or called them back, and that's okay. There are times you got to put the phone aside and be with your family and your kids and do that kind of thing. But if someone calls or texts, sometimes I just respond and say, hey, I'm with my family right now. Can I call you later today or call you tomorrow or something? And people are very understanding.
Most people. Sometimes, occasionally, they get a little bit irritable. All right, Jack Johnson, when we come back, let's talk about the agenda of the Tennessee General Assembly when they come back. Cam Saxton was here, Speaker of the House, last week, and we were talking about education, and boy, does he have a really interesting idea I'd like to chat with you about.
Absolutely.
Back with Jack Johnson, Tennessee State Senate Majority Leader, after this.
everyone. EJ Host here, founder of the Digital Footprint Management Agency and frequent guest on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show, here to tell you about GetFoundEverywhere.com. Customers are searching for your business everywhere: Google, Apple Maps, TikTok, and new AI platforms like ChatGPT and Gemini, which is a total disruptor. Traditional search engine optimization isn't dead, but it is on life support. Old tactics don't work anymore. So how can you make your business stand out? GetFoundEverywhere.com makes your business pop on over 50 search, map, review, and AI-driven platforms. With one easy dashboard, manage business profiles, social media accounts, direct messages, even texts and reviews. GetFoundEverywhere.com is affordable, boosts your visibility, and gets your business more customers. It's time to step up your game the easy way. Save time, save money, and get more customers with GetFoundEverywhere.com.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
I'm Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported the Second Amendment rights of free men and women to protect themselves and their families with firearms. We offer the very best in both selection and prices on Glock handguns, custom Glocks, Glock magazines, and high-performance shooting accessories at GlockStore.com. We also have the finest retail showroom and our Shoot 270 shoot rooms right here in Nashville, Tennessee. Come visit us at GlockStore.com, and you'll be glad you did.
My fellow Americans, my good friends, I've known them for a long time, at D.T. McCall & Sons have the deal of a lifetime for you, and nobody knows deals like I do. That much I can tell you. Nobody knows deals like I do. The lumber yards, they can hit you with hidden charges for up to $200 extra. They'll charge you for cords and hoses and haul-offs. Your money goes all over the place and out of the state, and most importantly, out of your pockets. How do they get away with that? I don't know how they do that, but on day one, if you buy from McCall's, we are going to stop the hidden charges as soon as you buy it. D.T. McCall & Sons has locations in Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Cookeville, and Franklin, and they have been family-owned in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. Head to one of their stores today or check them out at dtmccalls.com. You're going to love it, believe me.
Impersonator not endorsed by Donald Trump.
I'm Matt Van Epps, and I approve this message.
Meet woke liberal Afton Bain.
This is great. We've got our girl squad, and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is a win.
Afton Bain, so woke, she thinks it's a win to harass police.
This is great. We've got our girl squad, and we're bullying the ICE vehicles and state troopers. So this is a win.
Woke liberal Afton Bain. When she wins, we lose.
Paid for by Matt Van Epps for Congress.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back. In studio, our very good friend, Tennessee State Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson. You know, Jack, last week, sitting in the same seat that you're sitting in right now, Speaker of the House Cam Sexton was here, and we had a nice conversation. You guys work pretty well together,
Oh,
don't
yes,
you?
yes. Speaker Sexton does a great job. Has a very difficult job as Speaker of the House with 99 members, but he handles it very, very well and is well respected amongst his colleagues. And I'm glad we got a really good, positive working relationship.
It's sort of interesting, isn't it, that the way the Tennessee Constitution structures the government. If the Tennessee State Senate and the Tennessee House work together, they can really have a significant impact on the state because structurally, the governor, it would be called, I guess, a weaker governorship because the Tennessee General Assembly can override a veto with a simple majority.
That's correct.
And it's not that way in other states.
That's correct.
And so it makes sense. And what I've noticed is how closely the Tennessee State Senate, the Tennessee House, Governor Bill Leahy, and Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti, how closely you all have worked together on key legislation. Tell us a little bit about that and why that is so important in terms of the inevitable legal challenges that will be brought against constitutional conservative statutes passed by the Tennessee General Assembly and signed into law by the governor.
Well, Tennessee participates, as do all 50 states, in a number of organizations, and you got the American Legislative Exchange Council, National Conference of State Legislatures, you got the Council of State Governments, and occasionally they'll have conferences, and you go to some of those, and you get to meet people from other states and talk to them about what's going on. And everything you just articulated is exactly right, and it is actually pretty rare. In most states, you have not most, but in some states you might have a Democrat governor but a Republican-controlled legislature, so they're always fighting. You might have a Republican Senate and a Democratically controlled House. You might have a Republican governor, but you got a Democratic Attorney General, and so that just leads to conflict.
Log jams. Things don't get accomplished.
That's exactly right. In the case of Tennessee, you're right. All of those offices, branches of government, or in the case of the Attorney General, that office, we are all very close. We work well together. We don't always agree, but we agree most of the time, and when we find that common ground, we can get really significant things done. And you're exactly right. When you're taking on contentious, litigious type issues that you know are going to end up in court, like when you're trying to protect children from transgender surgeries, which I led the effort on, we were able to work with our Attorney General in crafting that legislation long before it ever got filed or got introduced and considered by the legislature. Also worked with the governor, and so we knew that everyone was aligned with that legislation. We get it passed, did end up in court, as we've talked about previously, ended up going all the way to the United States Supreme Court, and our law was very successfully defended by our Attorney General and his team, and we led the nation in protecting kids from those barbaric procedures.
Now, there's a proposal that Speaker Sessions came up with independently, just was thinking about this problem. And as you know, we've talked a lot about the problem of K-12 education in the country, and in Tennessee particularly. And we've seen reading, writing, and arithmetic scores just not improve. They're not very good. And they've been not so hot for some time. And this is something that Cam Sexton thought about. And that when he began looking at this, he said, well, we have a problem getting enough K-5 teachers. Now, there may have been a little twist on that, but he said, look, let's do the following. Let's set up a special program so that you can go to a community college and for 2 years and come out with a degree capable of teaching K-5 kids. And you could be somebody coming out of high school, or you could be somebody who's been doing something else your entire career, and you want to come back. You want to teach kids how to read, write, and do arithmetic. And so he is going to be introducing a bill that would allow that to happen. I gently suggested to him that he might also consider, as part of that bill, introducing the a direct instruction methodology. We've talked about this before. It's how it's the methodology for teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic that's been around for 60 years, very successful where implemented, largely opposed by the teachers' unions because it requires a different kind of training for the teachers, and it's very engaging. It's very time on task, very focused, very skill set development oriented. Some elements of it are rote, some not. I'm not the best at explaining it. Rachel Bradley, who's the headmaster of the George Washington Academy here, is the expert on that. Done it for 25 years, very successfully. I said, look, I said, Speaker, I can promise you, if you want to improve reading, writing, and arithmetic scores for kids in Tennessee, introduce direct instruction as the preferred methodology and implement it across the state. When you talk to Rachel Bradley about it, Jack, she says, look, she can take a kindergartner anywhere, at any level, and they can be reading by Christmas. This is exactly the way to go. So your thoughts on it, and this would be like, a pretty significant bill. Your thoughts on an education bill like that?
So I haven't spoken with Speaker Sexton specifically about this, but I have heard him talking about it. And look, I'll start at a 30,000-foot level. You can go back to around the turn of the century when, with the implementation of public education, largely as we know it today.
Between the turn of the century, 1900.
That's right.
As opposed to 2000.
That's correct. I'm sorry. Yeah, 1900. That's
but
right.
you and I, when you say turn of the century,
we have to.
That's exactly what I think of.
Yeah.
Some of our younger producer might say turn of century,
that's
2000.
That's 25 years ago. Yeah.
The turn of our century.
Of our century. That's right. The 20th century. The beginning of the 20th century. So we ended up with largely this kind of a assembly line type of public education, which works very, very well for many people and in certain areas. But as you know, in Tennessee, we've recognized that type of education system, while it works well for many families and many kids, we do need other options, be that charter schools, which we have had great success with in certain areas. We've got great private schools that are out there. We have a thriving homeschool population in Tennessee. And of course, now we have school choice, which will empower parents to pick the education option that is best for their families. So we have to continue to build on that. I am very intrigued with the idea of streamlining and making the path to be able to teach in our schools, making that path easier and removing some potentially unnecessary regulatory impediments. We've done some of that. If you've got if you have a degree in engineering and you've been an engineer, a professional engineer for your whole life, and you want to come in and teach physics in a high school, we should make that pathway relatively easy for you. If you've been in government, who knows? I might want to go back and teach high school government at some point.
That'd be kind of fun.
And use the experience that I've had serving in government. So all kinds of ways we need to think outside the box and empower our school districts all across the state with options and tools to better educate the kids.
Well, to that point, I have in my hands here, just gave you a copy of the Constitutions of the United States of America and the state of Tennessee, put out by my alma mater, the Nashville School of Law,
yes,
where I'm attending. And Article 11, Section 12 says the following about public education. The state of Tennessee recognizes the inherent value of education and encourages its support. The General Assembly shall provide for the maintenance, support, and eligibility standards of a system of free public schools. The General Assembly may establish and support such post-secondary educational institutions, including public institutions of higher learning, as it determines. So that's your guideline, right?
That's right.
And then within that, the Tennessee General Assembly writes statutes, and those statutes are implemented across the state.
That's right. Those are the guardrails within which we must operate. And I want to go back to something you mentioned, which I'm intrigued by Speaker Sexton's idea. We've got a really wonderful system of community colleges throughout the state. Due to, as a result of legislation that we passed a few years ago called Tennessee Promise, any Tennessee high school graduate can attend 2 years of community college free of tuition, and that has been very successful. The old days of saying that everyone needs to go get a 4-year degree. Well, some do, and I have a 4-year degree. I know you do as well, and you're working on a graduate law degree now.
I'm trying to understand all these laws you guys are passing.
Well,
actually,
good.
Not so much the laws. I'm trying to understand the courts. That's the problem. But
that is true. But one of the challenges we do have in education, and I hear this from our school systems across the state and even our private schools, is the shortage of teachers and some of those. There are people out there who would love to get in the classroom and be a teacher. And do we have too many impediments in the way that are preventing people from being able to do that. So look forward to hearing more from Speaker Sexton about it. He is, as we all are, but Speaker Sexton has been a real leader and a champion for parental rights and education, and again, thinking outside the box of ways we can creatively make our schools better.
Yeah, and I think the comparison was you can go to 2 years and get a license, become a licensed practical nurse, right? I think.
Right, exactly.
And so that's the comparable element.
Sure.
And I think in his proposal, because some people are looking at, well, it's a great idea, but they need to be certified and pass certain standards, which it makes sense. But I think, you get these people through, what I'd love to see is 2 years, you learn how to teach K-5 using direct instruction methodology. You get in the classroom right away with somebody who knows how to supervise direct instruction teachers. Boom, you're going to see reading, writing, and arithmetic scores go up dramatically very quickly if they do that. And the other part about that is the teachers always go for extra courses, right?
Sure.
So you start out you kind of, with a practical teaching degree, and you finish, 4 years. I think that makes sense.
Another thing that I like about that idea is, which is what I think you're touching on, is we can get people in the classroom, see if they like it. If they want to go on and finish their 4-year degree, they can.
When we come back, it'll be time for News Potpourri.
All right.
In studio, good friend, State Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson.
I'm Carmichael, CEO of Soul Tea, a supplement to help you have a healthier heart and stronger cardiovascular system. At Soul Tea, we regularly get emails from our customers telling us how Soul Tea has helped them. Like this one from Kelly. Hello, I'm 58 years old and have had high cholesterol for years. I wanted to stay away from prescription drugs. My husband and I have been using Soul Tea for about 13 months. My results have been amazing. My cholesterol levels went from 291 to 129. I am so impressed with Soul Tea and want to thank you. Now, in my own case, my bad cholesterol dropped from 130 to 89, and that was 20 years ago. I'm 75 years old and I take 0 prescription drugs. To get a great deal on Soul Tea, please go to GodzillaHeart.com, and when you check out, use the code Godzilla to get our best deal, which is 50% off your first shipment and then 3 bottles for the price of 2 thereafter. You don't have to live with a broken heart.
Do you suffer from
Try
declining
Soul Tea
bone and
today.
joint health? Hi, it's Tina with the John Fredericks Media Network. And when I heard about our company's Women's Challenge, I jumped on the opportunity to test this amazing supplement that's already restoring my bone density, soothing my joint pain, and helping me regain lost mobility. I've experienced so many benefits in such a short time with Native Path Collagen Peptides because they support my bones and joints, boost my metabolism, and unleash the most radiant skin and hair since my 20s. In just 2 weeks, my knee stiffness is gone, and I'm already hitting the gym more aggressively. And I get so many compliments on my glowy skin and shiny hair. Native Path Collagen Peptides are so easy to take. They're tasteless, odorless, and mix great with my morning coffee. Read thousands of 5-star reviews at getnativepath.com/Godzilla. Level up your self-care with Native Path Collagen Peptides. Try it risk-free for as low as $21 today. And get free shipping at getnativepath.com/Godzilla.
In 2008, the amount of concentrated time people could spend on a task without becoming distracted was 12 seconds. 5 years later, it was only 8 seconds, 1 second less than a goldfish. If you're often distracted or have trouble recalling information, you're likely to fall behind in the demanding, fast-paced 21st century. In other words, brain performance is more critical now than ever. Boost your brain power with Healthy Cells Focus Plus Recall. Science-backed nootropics to help you sharpen focus, concentrate longer, enhance recall, improve mental speed, learn rapidly, and be more alert. It's a pill-free brain supplement made with maximum absorption ingestible gel technology, designed to feed your brain at the cellular level. Take it for a test drive. Go to healthycell.com and use code GODZILLA for 20% off your first order of Focus Plus Recall. That's HealthyCell.com. Code GODZILLA for 20% off.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. Now, here's Michael Patrick Leahy.
Welcome back to the Michael Patrick Leahy Show. In studio, our very good friend, State Senate Majority Leader Jack Johnson. Jack, you know, it's that time of day again. It's time for News Potpourri. This is the portion of the program we talk about those stories that are of note, don't necessarily merit a full segment, and may have a touch of
irony.
Well, this is fun. You ever watch the infomercial about ShamWow? The ShamWow guy?
Oh, yeah. Man. I hadn't thought about that in a long time.
Well, this guy, his name is Vince Shlomi. He's the ShamWow guy, right? Here's a headline from the UK Independent. Infomercial star, the ShamWow guy, launches a congressional campaign. But wait, there's more. He's running to unseat GOP Republican John Carter, seeking re-election in Lone Star's 31st congressional district. That's the northern suburbs of Austin. And so this guy announced that he was motivated by the Turning Point USA and the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Look, come on in, the water's warm, I guess they would say.
Yeah, I guess. So he's a Republican?
Yeah, he's a
He's
Republican.
going to challenge. Okay. Well,
we'll see.
Interesting.
Yeah. Our buddy Tim Burchett.
Yes.
He has really developed a following.
Oh, yeah.
And this particular clip has more than 1 million hits so far. He's talking about the fraud going on with Somalis in Minnesota. Let's just play this clip and get your reaction to it.
Hey everybody, Tim Burchett, back in Tennessee. Hey, I've been reading a lot and watching the news on these Somalis in Minnesota and around the area that are ripping the system off, faking autism. I've got one of my dearest friends has autism, and he just gets it every day, doesn't get any help, goes to school, does his thing, has a job, takes care of his Nana, and he's just a wonderful human being. To think that somebody is using that situation to rip off the system, to me, is unbelievable.
Yeah, and there's a lot of evidence of that going on in Somalia. Talk about Tennessee being the greatest state. They've got the chief of police in Minneapolis speaking Somali and apologizing to the Somali community in Somali for pointing out the fact that there were high levels of crime within their area. It's kind of crazy. I've got some breaking news. At the federal level. This from CNN. It was just published literally 8 minutes ago. Federal judge dismissed indictments against Letitia James and James Comey. A federal judge dismissed the indictments against former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James on Monday. The judge found the appointment of interim U.S. Attorney Lindsay Halligan in Alexandria, Virginia, was invalid. That'll be appealed, of course.
Oh, of course it will.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that's the way these things are. Kind of crazy stuff. You're a big sports fan, right?
Yeah.
What Vanderbilt?
Oh, and it's incredible, and what a game this coming weekend.
Yeah,
I guess.
So you had Diego Pavia. I think I should pronounce his name. They're 9-2.
Yeah.
First time since 1917.
Isn't that incredible?
They have 9 wins. This guy's something else.
I love to watch him. He's
so high energy.
I saw him. There was a documentary on Netflix talking about SEC teams and kind of did a profile. And one of them they did was on Vanderbilt and Diego. And I really enjoyed that and learned a little bit about him and his background and how passionate he is, what a hard worker he is. So he's done great things at Vanderbilt. What a great the whole organization over there is good.
Clark Lee's done a great job. Yeah. And but what's interesting about that is you watch him. I mean, he's just nonstop, go. And this game against Kentucky over the weekend, Vanderbilt blew them out. It was like, I don't know, they were up 38-3.
Yeah.
Ended up being like 45-17. He threw for, wait for it, 484 yards.
It's amazing.
And I think he had 4 touchdown passes and 1 running touchdown.
He's a great scrambler. I mean, he can run. He's not very tall, I think, relative to most, SEC and NFL quarterbacks. But he's stocky, and, man, what an athlete.
He's something else. And, of course, now with the big game, now Vanderbilt, I think, is ranked 12th.
Mm-hmm.
And they're going to be going against the Volunteers.
Yeah.
I think the Volunteers are ranked 18th or something like that.
Yeah.
Volunteers are 8-3. Vanderbilt's 9-2. I don't know what the odds are on that. If Vanderbilt were to be favored, it might be the first time in history that Vanderbilt's been
favored against the Vols. I mean, it's like a battle royale inside the state of Tennessee.
Oh,
it's kind of hard to decide who to root for because you're very happy with Vanderbilt and what they're doing, but I'm a Vol fan through and through. So
I'm going to root for a good game.
Amen. That's the way to do it.
And
Let's
I think
hope
it
for
will be
game.
a good game. And look, I think either one could win.
Yeah.
Right. But there's something about the Diego. Of course, he's got a certain attitude.
Yeah.
Right. That is, basically makes everybody want to root for the guy.
Yeah.
And
he straddles that line. He's very confident.
Yeah.
He's very confident, but it doesn't seem to rise to the level of arrogance.
Right on the edge.
He's confident, but he delivers. You know, what's the old saying? It's not bragging if you can do it.
Yeah.
And he has delivered for Vanderbilt.
And I think part of their strategy is they want to get him to the top 5 for the Heisman vote. I think he's like, third in the prediction markets.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you what's going to happen here. If this game with the Volunteers this coming Saturday, it's going to be big.
Oh, it's huge.
Big. As long as he has a good game, right, which I think he will, right? Even if they were to lose, I think he'd still be, up for the Heisman.
Yeah.
And if they win, there's an outside shot. There's an outside shot that Vanderbilt could be in the playoffs. Isn't that crazy?
That would be incredible.
I don't think Tennessee with 3 losses is going to make it.
Yeah, I think their path is pretty
okay.
narrow.
Last prediction. We've got 30 seconds here. Lane Kiffin. Does he stay at Ole Miss? Does he go to LSU? Go to Florida?
Golly, I don't know. I got a punt on that one. To use a football analogy, how's that?
Very well done. I think he should stay at Mississippi. I think he might go to LSU.
Yeah.
We'll see. Hey, Jack Johnson, thanks so much for joining
Thanks,
us.
Michael. Thanks for
All
having
right,
me.
we'll be back tomorrow morning, same time, same place. I'm Michael Patrick Leahy, the website, TennesseeStar.com.
This is State Senator Mark Pody. Government is limited to what it is supposed to do. One of the things that is critical that we're supposed to be working on is transportation. Here in Middle Tennessee, our roads need more help. As your state senator, we are focused on getting more money reoccurring without a new tax increase for our roads here in Tennessee. This is State Senator Mark Pody.
Paid for by Campaign for Mark Pody, Christina Hibden, Treasurer.
Hey there, it's Lenny McGill, founder and CEO of GlockStore.com. For over 30 years, I've supported our Second Amendment rights with GlockStore.com, the world's #1 source for Glock handguns, parts, and accessories. I also support accurate, unbiased journalism like The Michael Patrick Leahy Show. His team broke the Kilmar Abrego Garcia traffic stop and was the first to obtain that video. Independent journalism at its finest. Visit us at GlockStore.com. Listen to Michael Patrick Leahy and make America great again.
FlatFeeNashville.com is a full-service real estate brokerage that charges homeowners a upfront flat fee of $999 to completely list, market, and sell your home. We are all about saving consumers money, saving that equity. Nobody should hire an agent and feel like when that agent walks in the door, that agent is more concerned about the down payment on their next Mercedes purchase versus saving the equity that those homeowners have worked hard for. I've spent my entire career in ensuring that the equity that people save and they put into their monthly mortgage every single month as much of that as we possibly can goes back to them when they go to list and sell that home. The idea is to give homeowners the ability to really create generational wealth.
Flatfeenashville.com, flatfeenashville.com.